Welcome to the stream. My hands unfortunately have the stench of onions on them, and I can't get rid of the smell due to food I was making. Tragic. Tragic. Also, the go live notification, as I noted, I've got next to me, I'm trying a thing of kombucha for the first time in my life, and I don't know how to feel about it. It's kind of weird. Um, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if I can't tell if I like the taste or not. It's not off-putting, but it's strange. It's blueberry ginger was the I was in the aisle in a particular aisle at the grocery store, and I was like, man, I've never had. I saw the aisle of kombucha, and then I was like, huh, I've never had that, but I'm curious enough to pick one up and try it. And I decided tonight was going to be the night I had it. So if it somehow poisons me or kills me live on stream, then that'll be to all of our benefits, and that'll make for an excellent stream. Welcome to the stream, though. Hope you had a great Saturday. Mine was very chill. Before I load up the game here, let's bring up the question I had posed to the class last stream, which was, hey, what's the general opinion on what I should do for the good path / bad path here for this arc? And I got to be 100% honest. I thought I'd get a little bit more answers, but instead, maybe unsurprisingly, I got more responses about my pronunciation of Rena, Rena for these characters. And honestly, I'm not even mad. I'm not even disappointed. I can't even say I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. I'm not even disappointed. I think it's very funny that instead of the question that was actually posed, I had more people chiming in about my pronunciation of the Rena character that we've had since the beginning of the story, that I've always been calling her Rena. And then, of course, there's the different spelling of her name. And then there's her, what you would assume, what we learned in the last stream was the stepmom type situation of a different Rena that's probably pronounced differently, that I chose to then be like, well, how the hell do I settle this kind of thing? And of course, good-natured people trying to set me on the right path. Unfortunately, I think we're and I don't say this as like I'm just discarding what the suggestions people give me or anything. It's just we're too far along the path for me to change. It's like trying to change the direction of a big old like ship. It's you can't just turn the wheel and I'm immediately going hard starboard or whatever, and then I'm like fucking I can't change. I'm set in my ways. I'm an old man. I'm stubborn as shit, So now it's there's been other times, especially now in Ryukishi stories. Let's talk about like Umineko. There's a couple characters where I was pronouncing one way, and then finally I gave in and I was like, all right, let's pronounce it probably the more correct way. Maybe that will happen here. I'm not going to rule it out. But I'm saying as of right now, I think there should be just an understanding. I don't know how prominent a character the stepmom Rena is going to be. Rena? I think what people are telling me, again, I'm shooting from the hip here. I think what people are saying is I've been saying Rena incorrect this whole time, from what I understand. Rena, the one I've been saying Rena, the member of the club, little girl Rena, should be pronounced Reyna. And then the stepmom character that has now been introduced should be Rena. So I feel as if I acknowledge it here, and I say, hey, That's how it should be, but I'm going to continue to say it the wrong way potentially. And it's not like, I'll say that in a second, but like I'm acknowledging it. We can all it's just like me mispronouncing like Japanese names of like locations and stuff. We all know I'm saying it the wrong way. We acknowledge it and then we move on together as a group, okay? Don't hate me for it. All right, yeah, I'm doing a service. I'm reading this story for myself, but also for you guys. Let's just acknowledge it and move on. Now, the thing is, it's not like her name is Reina and I'm calling her Steve. So it's not like it's the worst thing ever. I assume we can all get over it. I assume if you've gotten to this part, you're 40 something parts into it at this point and you're still around. You're fine. You're cool and you're fine and you accept it and you accept my problems and my flaws and I appreciate you for that. And then we can just keep going on, you know? If it gets really bad, I can say Rena 1 and Rena 2. Rena Prime, and then new Rena. Something along those lines. Something like that. But it is very funny that I had statistically more people trying to correct me and let me know how I got the Rena name wrong than actually answering my question about that. Oh, so I should say a little more outside research on my end and also just solidifying what I previously had thought. I think we're just going to go, I don't know about future chapters, but we're just talking about this one right now. We'll go good path. Now, I think I selected the option that it says it's going to highlight the good path for us. Choices, right? Let's go through the good path first. Whenever it gives us the choice. Clapping my hands. And then making a split forked path with my hands. And then we'll go the good path. And then we'll obviously create a safe spot. And then we'll go to see the bad path afterwards. I think that's a good compromise. And also, with what has been explained to me about, at least for this chapter, the differences or lack thereof of the good and bad path, seems like if I want to see both paths, seeing the good and then the bad in that order seems to make the most sense. So that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. The name thing, I already just talked about it. So yeah, let's see. Last stream on Tuesday, Higurashi Tuesday, we read a section that was all about, it was expanding. It was like giving, now I see, and here's the problem. Again, this isn't anyone in chat's fault, but like, now every time, at least for a while, anytime I say Rena, or I'm about to say Rena, and I mean like club-aged Rena, I'm going to be double thinking it, and I'm going to be like, I know I'm saying it wrong. It's the worst. But yeah, Rena, we got Rena lore. Basically, young Rena, we saw explanation of her two parents, the kind of family situation she was dealing with. I'm a very big believer in, and I don't think this is anything shocking or whatever, and probably science, many social sciences back this up, but very often family life shapes a person, especially like their personality and everything. I assume that's kind of why we were seeing the family thing. I think chapter 6 is definitively, for lack of a better term, a Rena expansion chapter. We're learning more about Rena. We're seeing even though we had Ketchy there at the start from his perspective, we're seeing some from perspective of Rena. We're seeing now a character tied to her stepmom type situation. And then we're also seeing some back lore about Rena. And I think the whole intention, especially of this last section we read, was seeing the kind of, for lack of a better term, fucked up situation between her parents and what that kind of can do to a kid who's put in that position by their parents. Again, I'm not saying that like some parents need to just kind of go through a divorce at some point. That they're allowed to do what they need to do to have their lives better, right? But it does have an impact both on the parents going through it and then also the kids that might be attached to it. I think that's why we were shown it, is that we're kind of seeing potentially the damaging effects that it could have to Rena, and also her, what might be expanded later on, but like her distrust of her actual mom, because the attitudes that Rena seemed to exhibit towards her mom drastically changed as she, even as a kid, saw that her mom kind of fucked over her dad, in a way, and she felt really sympathetic towards her dad. And then I think the whole thing was that the mom tried to get Rena to move in with her. Rena said no, moves back in with her dad. And then her dad at some point then meets this new Rena. Seems to be, again, like a stepmom type situation. We caught a flash of her seemingly at the end of that Angel Mort section. And then we got kind of the backstory of who she is. Obviously, Rena noted her as making her dad happier than she had seen him in a long time, kind of thing. And yeah, I think that was pretty much a lot of last stream. It was a lot of I did go. I didn't necessarily go back a bunch, but obviously my little that I do to get the stream back up on the archive, I was reminded of just how a lot of the last stream was me talking about more personal story stuff related to the game. At least it wasn't like I was going on such a tangent that it had nothing to do with what we were seeing on screen. But yeah, again, hopefully that wasn't to the detriment of the experience. I hope no one was watching that and being like, God, just read the fucking next sentence, Austin, or something like that. But if that was you, it's okay. Well, I don't even want to say I'm sorry, because I'm not sorry. We're just, this isn't obviously a very clean run through the story, so I don't know, go somewhere else if that's what you want. In the nicest way possible, I say that. But yeah, with kombucha in hand and my hand smelling of onion, let's read this next section. Or 2 sections. I always say 1 section if it's super long, 2 sections if we can get them in tonight. I don't want to necessarily jinx us here, but I am feeling already like I've had a long day today, outside of stream, obviously. So I was a busy bee today. So, the thing I will say is, don't hate me if we only get 1 section in tonight. If it's a decent sized stream, decent sized section. But we'll be okay. The thing is, I've yet to have to do like an emergency, like super long Higurashi stream, like we've had to do a couple times in like during the Umineko stretch, to try to, with the ultimate goal of obviously finishing before the end of the year. But don't be surprised if, like, I don't know, one random day in the next coming like month or so, I'm like, hey, we're gonna do like a long ass Higurashi stream one day. And I do mean it as a threat. I say it as a threat. I intend it as a threat. You have no option but to see it as a threat. When I threaten long Higurashi me reading streams, or any streams for that matter. This kombucha's weird, dude. But it's not bad. It's just strange. kombucha's probably not that strange. It's probably just strange to me because I'm a person whose only like liquids that I intake are like water, energy drinks, like high sugar energy drinks, coffee, or alcohol of various types. And so like I'm probably like, you hand me a thing of kombucha and I'm like, what the fuck is this? My body's like, huh? What do I do with this? My taste buds are like, huh? Here we go.
Oh, 来た来た。
Hey, good morning, Reina.
おはようレナ。
You're late today.
今日はケイチ君の方が早かったね。
You're just early today, Ketchi-kun.
普段を棚にあげるわけじゃないが、俺が朝の待ち合わせでレナに勝つなんて珍しいこともあるもんだぜ。
I'm not trying to put aside the fact that I'm always late, but it feels good to defeat you once in a while. Oh.
レナ、今朝はちょっとお寝坊した。
I slept in this morning.
昨べ寝つかれなくってね。
I couldn't sleep last night.
レナもか。
Oh, you too?
実は俺もなんだよ。
Same here.
昨日の大騒ぎの余韻がずーっと残っててさ。
I was still feeling yesterday's uproar.
布団に入っててもなかなか眠くならなくて夜が長く感じたぜ。
It took me a long time to go to sleep. Yesterday, I had a lot of fun with my friends and went home still riding that high. I was too full to eat dinner. I kept talking with my parents about the great time I had over the past few days. I was so pumped up that I couldn't go to sleep. Kind of sounds like I'm a little kid. But, given that Rena seemed to be the same way, I felt better about it. Rena. No, I felt better isn't the right way of phrasing it. I should say I'm glad to know that we shared the same feeling. Rena went treasure hunting after I left. I'm sure she found many adorable things, went home, and talked with her parents about how great the day was.
あ、みーちゃんだ。
Hey, Mi-chan!
おはよ
Good morning!
おお、ミオンが先に待ってるなんて今日は雪が降るかもな。
Oh, you're here early. Better watch out for the pigs falling from the sky.
人
Got
が
her.
珍しく先に待ってりゃそういうこと言うわけ？
I know I usually make you wait for me, but do you have to say it like that?
う。それを言ったら私より先に待ってたケイチ君も珍しいよ。
Ketchi-kun was unusually early this morning.
雪が降るかもね。
Today is full of miracles.
人のこと言えないね。
You're one to talk yourself. It's going to be another happy day today. I had fun the day before yesterday. I had fun yesterday. So, going to have fun today for sure. I'm happy, and Mion is happy too. Nothing will ruin this. It's gonna remain happy for the rest of the story. Of course, Rena and my other friends are equally happy. I'm not afraid to say it, and I wish these happy days would last forever.
なあミオン、
Hey, Mion,
今日は何をして遊ぼうな。
what are we playing today?
今日の部活？
What, for club?
何がいいだろうね。
I don't know yet.
レナは提案ある？
Reina, do you have any ideas?
そうだね。
Let's see.
昨日おとといと体を使うゲームが続いたから、今日はあまり体に激しくないゲームがいいな。
We've been playing athletic games for the past few days, so I'd say something not athletic. She's a variety lover.
そうだな。
You're right.
レナの言うのも一理あるぜ。
That's a very good point.
部活は肉体勝負だけが全てじゃねえだろ。
Our club is not only about athletic performance, is it?
もちろん。
Of course not.
心
It's not.
技体すべての要素において完璧であってこそ部活メンバーだからね。
Our club members have to have brains, skill, and brawn to boot.
じゃあ今日は何かテーブルゲームで遊ぶことにしよう。
So why don't we play some tabletop games today? Everybody was early this morning. We could enjoy our walk to school for once. After a while, we started talking about the upcoming festival. They told me that the festival was called Watanagashi, and that it's the biggest event of the year in Hinamazawa.
そうだそうだ。昨日木の宮の家に親類が集まっていろいろと話が出たんだけどさ。
Yesterday, my relatives gathered at my house in Okinomiya,
ケイちゃんの話題が出たんだよ。
and they started talking about you, Ki-chan.
俺
What? Me?
園崎家の重鎮が集まって一体何の相談だよ。
What did the great people of the Sonozaki family talk about?
いやさ、
Well,
昨日のエンジェルモートでのケイちゃんの活躍を見てた店長の吉郎おじさんがさ、
my uncle Yoshiro is the store manager of Angel Mart, and he saw your performance yesterday.
ケイちゃんのことを相当気に入っちゃったみたいでさ。
He really likes you now.
それでいろいろと話を聞いてみたら、他の親類も意外にケイちゃんのことを知ってる人が多いんだよね。
So, started asking the others if they had heard of you, and I found out that most of them did.
ひなみ沢の名物男みたいな言われようだったよ。
They said you're famous in Hinamazawa.
名物男ってのはまた微妙な称号だな。
Famous doesn't sound like they meant it in a good way.
その称号の9割方はミオンの罰ゲームに関係があるような気がするぞ。
I'm probably more infamous to them because of the punishment you made me do.
それだけじゃないけどさ、
It's not only that.
ノリもいいし元気があって無鉄砲なところも今時の若い子にしては感心感心とみんなベタ褒めだったよ。
They said that you blend in well, that you're full of energy, and that you're a little bit reckless. They said it's rare for a young man in this era to have all those qualities. They were very impressed with you. I felt a bit embarrassed to know that people I haven't met yet, that I haven't even met, were speaking well of me.
でね、今後の渡流しのお祭りで何かで活躍してくれないかなって話が出てね。
And so, they want you to do something at the Watanagashi festival.
ケイちゃん目立つこととか好きでしょ？
You like to draw people's attention, don't you?
おいおいおいおい、
Hey!
本人不在で勝手に話を進めるな。
Don't assume things and don't decide anything without me.
俺は孤独と静寂を愛するロンリーガイだぜ。
Don't you know I'm a quiet, lonely guy who loves to be alone? Oh, he's just like me, for real, for real. Ah, ha 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 ha.
誰がロンリーガイだ？
Lonely guy?
チェリーボーイの間違いでしょ？
You mean Cherry Boy, don't you?
はあ、チェリーってなんだろうなんだろう。
What's a Cherry Boy?
ケイチくん、チェリーボーイ。は
How? Ketchi-kun, what does Cherry Boy mean?
うわー
Scream.
年頃の娘どもが朝っぱらからはしたないこと言ってんじゃね
Stop talking about nasty things. Ladies don't talk about things like that. We really were still feeling the after effects of yesterday. Mia and I made a lot of noise teasing each other on the way to school. Rina watched us and laughed happily. Satoko and Rika-chan were also there when we arrived at school. They were also full of energy. Tomita-kun and Nakamura-kun were the two. From that, I could tell they also had a good time yesterday. Everybody has been having a good time, really. In Hinamazawa, everybody is happy. Talk about a threatening sounding sentence right there. Nothing ever goes wrong.
まだ引っ越してきて1年も経ったわけじゃないけどさ。
It hasn't even been a year yet since I moved here, but...
どうしたの突然？
What is it?
いやさ、ひなみ沢に引っ越してきて俺幸せになったなって。
Well, I'm just glad that I moved here.
どうしたのケイちゃん？急に臭いこと言い出して。
What's wrong, Ki-chan? You're being sentimental.
レナにはわかるよ。
I understand.
ひなみ沢に引っ越してきてすべてが幸せになった気持ちよくわかる。
I understand exactly how you feel. You feel like everything is perfect. That you've become happy since you moved to Hinamazawa.
この村にはね、きっと人を幸せにする魔法がかかってるんだと思うから。
I think this village has some kind of power to make people feel that way.
レナは幸せか？
Are you happy, Rina? Yes!
レナはひなみ沢に引っ越してきてからが毎日幸せだよ。
I'm happy every day here in Inamazawa.
そうだな。そいつは俺もだ。
Yeah, me too.
ちょっと
Hey,
なんかおじさんだけのけ者っぽくない？
don't leave this old man out in the cold.
ブーブー
Let me in on the conversation, too. I almost didn't see the two there. The sky was clear and the few thin clouds were pure white. The cry of the cicadas was telling me that summer would be coming earlier than usual. Wada Nagashi is just around the corner. I'm sure we'll have great fun at the festival, too. And nothing will go wrong. There will be more and more fun days to come, I'm sure of it. Summer's just around the corner. Ah, Rina's perspective, as denoted by the pink text. The last class of the day was finally over, meaning that it was time for club activities. I was sure it would be fun. I couldn't wait. It is kind of strange because, and strange might not be the right word, but we've had previous chapters where we've gone away from the Kechi perspective, right? The game is not afraid of doing that. There's gotta be, it feels like there's gonna be some reason of like great significance to have it so that we have clear denotion of we've had catchy moments in this chapter and we're having Rina things, because I would feel like if there wasn't going to be a big reason to it, that the game would just stick with Rina this whole time and that would just be it. And I don't know if that means there's going to be something revealed as or I could see this being like a not weird, but like a big, like, especially if we're going off like the foreboding text of like during the water pistol fight. Like if this does somehow end in like this tense moment between like Kechi and Rina for whatever moment towards the end of some type of moment. Like I could see, like, I don't know if the game would do it necessarily, but I feel like it would very easily lend itself to doing like a back and forth, like super rapid succession of like seeing inside the mind of the two characters from their perspectives and going like back and forth. Because you always gotta think, if they're doing something, they're gotta be doing it for a reason, right? At least that's how I always think. Anyway, she continues, I couldn't wait. But then Mi-chan received a call and told us something had come up and she had to go. So, we didn't have a club meeting today. Tisk. I was really looking forward to it. There was nothing I could do, but I could at least chat with Ketchikun on the way home. It'll be fun. Ketchikun sometimes says mean things, but he's very funny. When I chat with him, my depression goes away. Wait, what did I just say? Am I depressed? I have so much fun every day, and I'm as happy as I can be. What did I have to be depressed about? Well, it was obvious. Because of Rina-san, my father is happy now. That's Rina number 2, the new Rina. It might make it easier, especially if I'm stubborn and I say both as Rina. Most characters, especially our Rina, our original Rina Prime, will probably be referring to the new Rina, her mom, as Rina-san. Probably a lot more. Just due to familiarity and stuff like that. So that might make it easier. You're not going to be calling, like, Rina especially isn't going to be calling, well, it's whatever. Also, I guess you could simply put, you could also say Rina isn't going to be saying Rina and addressing herself in the third person type thing. So there's also that. So, whatever. Also, I don't think it's been the case. I don't think any character other than, I don't know if the new Rina, the stepmom-like situation, is going to impact anyone else. It seems like this is going to be contained within the whole lore building of actual Rina. You know what I mean? So, that might make it also easier. You're not going to have, I doubt, famous last words, but I doubt, like, Kechi is going to see the two Rinas standing next to each other, and then he's going to be like, Rina! And us as the reader, I'm going to have to be like, which Rina does he mean? Whatever. Because of Rina-san, my father is happy now. Before he met her, he was like a lamp in broad daylight. Honestly, he was like the living dead. But after he met Rina-san, he started to smile like he used to when he was living with my mother. He enjoyed talking with her and started going out with her. You could probably say they went on dates. Now, he looks 20 years younger. Rina-san gets along with my father very well. She's very kind to me too. There's actually no reason for me to hate her. But bitter memories of my parents' divorce and my many regrets are gradually eating away at my heart. Was it okay to accept that woman? Rina-san might be the same as how Uncle Akihito turned out to be. Is she the enemy who takes my happiness away with her very existence? With or without bad intentions? Am I going to sit around until everything collapses again? Should I fight the enemy before it's too late? Rina-san comes to my house a little too, obviously. Since my father started letting her stay the night, many of her belongings have turned up in the house. My father and I don't smoke, but there's an ashtray in the living room. The futon in our guest room is hers now. In the bathroom, there's a toothbrush and shampoo I'd never choose to buy. I started to feel awkward about those things, and that's when I started noticing it at the front door when I came home from school. Her perfume. I asked my father once if he was thinking about getting married to Rina-san. He looked a little embarrassed, perplexed, and confused. He told me, not yet. He knew I was hurt by the divorce. It's probably why he couldn't admit that he wanted to remarry. That's why he said not yet. He'd consider it, but not while I was still living with him. That's what he meant, I guess. There's only one reason why I don't want him to get remarried to Rina-san. I feel offended that my sanctum, my family, is being invaded. I might be being selfish, though. I know keeping my father all to myself means keeping him miserable like he was before he met Rina-san. He has a life to live too. It's his right to heal from the pain from the divorce and to live, and to find his new love. He wouldn't have had to go through that painful life if I'd prevented the divorce from happening in the first place. He has a right to a happy new life that lets him forget the pain he never deserved, and I don't have any right to stop him. In fact, I have an obligation to try to return his happiness to him. I have to pay for my sin, my inability to prevent his divorce. Then, what should I do to make both of us happy? It wouldn't be that difficult. All I need to do would be to give my silent approval of their relationship. My father tells me he won't get remarried while we live together. That means I should stop leaning on my family, be strong, and live on my own as soon as I can. Although, that doesn't mean I can tell him not to go out with her until that day. Rina-san comes to our house to see him despite her busy schedule, and she even stays the night whenever her shifts permit. They're adults. I have no right to say anything against that. That's why I chose to give my silent approval to the relationship, and tried to see her as little as I could. I get along with Rina-san on the surface. I know my father would have had a hard time keeping face if we didn't, but it's a very exhausting and painful thing to get along with a person I don't really like. So, whenever Rina-san comes over, I spend as much time as possible outside, then head home late. Mii-chan's club activities are the most convenient things to do to kill time, but there are some days we don't have a club meeting. On those days, I while away my time at the garbage dump hunting for treasure alone. And that's how I started to make my secret hideout. My father can do whatever he wants with Rina-san at home. I don't have to see them together. I can spend my time peacefully at my hideout. I sometimes feel depressed about my life. Sometimes want to talk to somebody about it. But nothing will change, even if I talk to someone. Or somebody. This is all I can really do. The most important thing for me should be to overcome the sadness of losing my family as fast as I could, and to regain my own happiness. I have so much fun every day. I'm happy every day. Even on the way home, Ketchikun was talking about funny things that made me laugh. My feeling gloomy in spite of that was kind of rude. My father should be happy. I should be happy. I just feel sad because I still can't separate from my father. Compared to the unexpectedness of the divorce, Rina-san's invasion is a very slow process. I think Rina-san understands how I feel. She treats me very kindly, but she doesn't do more than that. I think she understands that I feel uncomfortable she did. I respect Rika-chan because she's strong even without her parents. Compared to the pain of losing both her parents unexpectedly, my problem is like nothing. I respect Satoko-chan's toughness too. She also lost her parents and was forced to live a painful life under her uncle and aunt. Compared to the cruel treatment she had to go through, my relationship with Rina-san is a blessed one. I keep feeling anxious, but that's just because I'm still immature and because I feel like I'm not ready to separate from my father. I have to be strong like Rika-chan and Satoko-chan. I have to try my best to be happy. I'm going to live with all my might in order to regain the peace of mind that I lost that day. My assumption that I'm not happy is just a mistake. I should appreciate the wonderful days I spend with my wonderful friends. Just by realizing that I'm happy, the world shines so brightly.
それでね
Listen!
あんまりにも可愛いからレナ、はお持ち帰りって
It was just so cute, so I screamed, I'm taking it home with me.
やれやれ。
I bet you did.
レナは毎日を楽しく過ごすことに関しては達人だな。
You're an expert at making the most out of every day.
レナは毎日が楽しいよ。
I am, aren't I?
こんなにも素敵な友人たちに囲まれて過ごすこんなにも素晴らしい日々があってどうして不幸が感じられる
I feel very fortunate to have a wonderful life and wonderful friends. How could I be unhappy? I spread that word. How could I be unhappy?
だな。
I started stuttering there. You're right.
不幸なんかここにはないよ。
In Hinamazawa, nobody becomes unhappy.
いつまでも楽しくて不幸なことなんかとは一切無縁。
Everybody stays happy.
それがひなみ沢ってとこなんだからよ。
Hinamazawa is free from misfortunes. He should have stopped right there. But he just kept going.
レナが羨ましいよな。
I'm jealous of you, Rina.
その悩み知らずな能天気さが羨ましいぜ。
I wish I could be an idiotic optimist like you. Well, fuck you, Kechi.
はあ
How?
バカにされてるっぽい気がする
It sounds like you're insulting me.
でも毎日が楽しいなら私は能天気でもいいかな
But if that's what I need to make every day wonderful, I wouldn't mind.
かな
Would I? I don't have any worries. I feel like I do, but that's just because I'm immature and still want my father's attention. Come on. Say the magical words. It'll cheer you up.
は
How?
Huh?
Didn't make sense to say it now, but I was going to say it anyway, because this is my magical phrase that always cheers me up.
あ
How?
お持ち帰り
I'm taking it home with me.
なんだよ突然。
What's wrong with you? Little does he know she's just desperately trying anything to make herself happy. And not sad.
でもそれでこそレナだぜ。
That's so like you, but still. That's right. This is me, Rina. I'm not Reina. I'm not Reina. Reina still wants her parents' attention. This is what I stuck with. I'm gonna stick with it. Fuck it. I'm fine. Rina is a goofy and carefree girl. She knows that every day is full of happiness, and she has the kind heart to appreciate it too. I should forget about icky things. I should live a wonderful life free of anything icky. Icky starts with I, and that's why I got rid of the I in Reina. I'm Rina. I'm going to recapture the happiness I lost when I left Hinamazawa. I will overcome any pain and hardship. I can be happy because I got rid of icky things. Icky things. I'm sure there are only incredible things waiting for me. Oh, incredible starts with I too. Yeah, now what are you gonna do? I was almost home. When my house appeared, I noticed something different there. There was a truck parked in front of my house. There was nothing on the back of it, but I can tell it brought something here because I saw some cardboard boxes, blankets, and ropes on the ground. From the front of the house, I heard voices of two young men saying, "Well, we'll be going now." They passed me by, as I walked towards the front door. They were wearing some kind of work uniforms. They looked like delivery people. My father was about to close the door when he noticed me.
ただい
Hey, I'm home.
ま。何かあったの？
What's going on?
おかえり、レイナ。
Oh, Reina.
見てごらん、すごいぞ。
I have a surprise for you. My father looked to be in a good mood. I didn't know why he was, but whenever he smiled like that, I just wanted to smile back at him. His eyes used to look like those of a dead fish, no matter how hard I tried to smile at him. But these days, he could put on a big smile just to surprise me. He has been literally coming back to life since a year ago when he moved back to Inamazawa. No, since he started dating Rina-san. When I see him smile like this, I'm happy. But at the same time, I feel confused because I don't know whether I should thank Rina-san or not.
ほら、すごいだろう。
Look, doesn't it look great? He took me to the living room. He was probably expecting me to go all ooh and ah. So, whether there was something in the living room or not, I was ready to go ooh and ah for him.
何こ
Wow! What is this?
れ？どうしたのお父さん？
What did you do? I tried to sound excited and surprised. He was standing behind me, probably smiling with satisfaction at hearing my excited voice. I, on the other hand, was desperately trying to understand what was going on. For a moment, I thought I was in someone else's house. You see, the living room had been completely redecorated. The furniture we had was all basically from the former house of Ibaraki? Still didn't look up which of those it was. My parents bought most of the furniture when they got married, so it was all old and a little dirty. Some of them still had crayon scribbles I drew when I was very little. But all of that was gone. Everything in the living room had turned to pastel color, looking very sophisticated like the rooms you'd see in soap operas. The new carpet looked very tropical. The new curtains matched with the carpet. The new sofa looked very expensive. The living room in general looked like a resort hotel. The channel switcher of our old TV was broken, so we used to have to use pliers to change channels. But it was gone too, replaced by a new one with a big screen. The room's lights had also been replaced by nicer looking ones. The living room looked like a totally different world under the new fluorescent lights.
すごいねお父さん。
This looks great, Dad.
これはどうしたの？
What made you do this?
心機一転さ。
I did it to get a fresh start.
もう引っ越してきて1年にもなるんだから、お父さんもそろそろ気分を切り替えて、新しい生活に踏み出さないとなって思ったんだよ。
It's been a year since we moved here. I thought it was time for me to reboot and finally start a new life. I suggested redecorating the house once in order to cheer him up, because he was still in pain after the divorce. So this is like the manifestation of this dad's midlife crisis kind of like thing. I mean, it's probably not that drastic, right? That's just a funny way of saying it. He's probably like, hey, out with the old, in with the new. New relationship, who's this? Get the new furniture. I respect it. But he wasn't interested at the time. He didn't want to get rid of the old furniture he had chosen with my mother because he still couldn't get over her even though she cruelly broke up with him. I wanted to suggest it again when the time was right. I never thought he'd do it on his own initiative.
そうだね。
That was a good idea.
こんな綺麗なお部屋だと心も晴れ晴れするもんね。
This beautiful living room makes me feel refreshed.
素敵なお部屋だと思うよ。
I love it.
いいだろう。
I knew you would.
ほら、レイナ、お前、ユリースに憧れてたろ。
Rena. Or Reina. Whatever. You always wanted to have a rocking chair, didn't you?
まだ組み立ててないけど、ほら、
I haven't set it up yet, but look.
ちゃんとあるんだぞ。
I got it for you.
は
How?
う。お父さんすごいすごいすごい。
Dad, thank you, thank you, thank you.
これ私がもらってもいいのかな？かな？
This is mine, right? Right?
こらこら、それはみんなの共用のものだから、レイナだけってわけじゃないんだぞ。
Hey, this is for everybody, not just for you, Rena.
共用でもレナが占領しちゃうからダメ。
I understand, but I'm not going to want to get off the chair once I sit on it. Ah, My father explained the details of his redecoration proudly. He told me that he only did the living room this time, but he's going to redecorate all the rooms. He sure had become more active. There are some parts about the redecoration I didn't like, but I still thought it was great because it made him happy. It is hard because, like, just like Rina, me as the reader here, I'm like, oh man, good for her father. He was fucking just, his life was torn asunder, you know, when the divorce went through. And from all we've been told, he was just fucking devastated and ripped apart, and his life held no meaning, basically. And yet, I'm like, I also get Rina's whole hang up on the whole thing, and obviously her being younger and not 100% understanding that, you know, not only is it not her fault, but also, like, the adults sometimes have to do things that betters their own life, and it's like that thing where you're like, Rina, how can you not just see that, like, this is for the best? And you have to put aside your own feelings about the new person and all that, but then you're also like, you know, it's probably a weird time for Rina as well. Like, it's very awkward, and like, you know, kids, when divorces happen, you got to assume, especially when they're on the younger side, that they would rather just anything when a new thing like that happens, it's hard for them to, like, understand, and they would much rather just things stay the same and always stay the same and nothing to disrupt that. And tough. I found the old furniture outside in the yard.
あれは捨てちゃうの？
Are you going to throw them away?
まあこの際だと思ってな。
Yeah, I think we should.
後で業者が引き取りに来てくれることになってる。
A delivery company is coming later to pick them up. Getting rid of the old furniture means putting an end to my mother. I hated the furniture because it smelled like my mother, and I tried to break everything once. I understand why my father wants to take this opportunity to get rid of them. But, for some reason, this new living room makes me feel like I no longer belonged here. My father didn't choose the new furniture. Rina-san probably did. Most likely, my father and Rina-san decided to redecorate the living room and went to a furniture store to buy everything. I tried to think positively. The reason why my father didn't tell me about the redecoration was because he wanted to surprise me. No, my father never really considers things that deeply. So, suppose he didn't tell me because he just didn't think he needed to tell me. I'm sure he didn't redecorate the living room to make me feel like I was no longer welcome. Don't be negative, Rina. My father didn't have any bad intentions. Doesn't want to get rid of me. He doesn't think I'm the reason he can't get remarried. And yet, why did I feel sad looking at the old furniture in the yard? Why did I feel like I didn't belong? I realized the reason right away. That reason was me. To him, wanting to have a fresh start was by getting rid of the things that reminded him of my mother might be an indication of his unconscious desire to get rid of her daughter. My father doesn't really consider things deeply, so he might not be thinking that I'm the reason he can't get remarried. But he understands that he can't get remarried while we live together. By staying with him, I'm torturing my father. It was my fault that he had to get a divorce. That's why I have to support him, to help recapture his happiness. I couldn't just keep him all to myself. I'd have to start thinking about living on my own. I don't need to go to university. I should think about getting a job. But who would hire an uneducated girl like me? Even if somebody did hire me, I wouldn't be able to earn enough money to live on my own. Maybe I should think about working at a hostess club. At a hostess club, like Rina-san does. People only choose the jobs they can. A girl like me doesn't have a lot of choices. Not a lot of companies would hire me or pay the amount of money that I'd need to live on my own. But, come to think of it, where is this place where I belong? Whenever I end up feeling like this, I miss my secret hideout in the trash piles. I love to get under my blanket and feel the warmth on a cold night. The hideout gets hot and humid during the day and very cold at night. It's not a comfortable place to spend time in, but it might be the place where I can relax the most, more than I can at my house. No, I shouldn't think like this. I shouldn't think that my house has been invaded by Rina-san. I should thank her for making my father happy. Rina-san isn't trying to kick me out of the house. She's trying to get along with me. But I'm not opening my heart to her. I'm the bad one. I'm the bad one. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Sachi-kun and his aunt didn't get along at all, and she abused him for a long time. Compared to him, my situation is a lot easier. Satsuka-chan and Rika-chan lost their parents, and they live together now. They've been through very hard times. On the other hand, I still live with my father. I should feel blessed. I shouldn't think I'm unhappy just because of these things. I am happy. I am blessed. The trouble with me is that I still can't admit that I'm happy. My father kept talking proudly about the redecoration. I nodded at him with a big smile and let him keep at it.
そうだ、いけない。
Oh, I almost forgot.
レイナ、すまないんだがちょっとお使いを頼めないか？
Reina, can I ask you a favor?
お使い？
Sure.
うん、いいよ。
What is it?
お父さんな、ジャケットを2着ほど洋服屋さんに取り寄せさせてるんだ。
I ordered 2 jackets from the clothing store.
それがな、今日届くらしいんだ。
It seems like they came in today.
ちょっとお父さんは回収業者さんを手伝わなきゃならないから、レーナが代わりに取ってきてくれないか？
I have to help the delivery company pick up the furniture, so can you go get the jackets for me?
いいよ。
Sure.
お店を教えて。
What store is it?
どんなジャケットを取り寄せたんだろう。
I wonder what kind of jacket you got.
楽しみ。
Can't wait to see them. No matter what they look like, I'm sure Rina-san picked them out for him. Although I don't mind going, I'd rather go to the store than listen to his stories about the redecoration of our living room. I got the receipt, asked him where the store is, changed my clothes, and left the house. I started pedaling my bicycle and looked at the old furniture in the yard for the last time. They used to be the object of my hatred, but for some reason, they now made me feel sentimental. Is it because I still regret the loss of my mother, even though I hate her? Couldn't let poisonous emotions take over my heart. I understood that in my mind, but I just couldn't get rid of that feeling. The old furniture wasn't the only stuff that was kicked out of the house. There was also a lot of junk that I brought home from the landfill. How rude. That's like when you were young, and your parents, like, clean out, like, I don't know, house or storage or something, and then, like, you come home from school one day, and you're like, hey, Mom, where did this thing that I never touched a long time ago, since a long time ago, but where is it now? And she's like, oh, I threw that away, like, months ago. And then your whole world shatters. Happened plenty of times at my house. My father was probably going to throw that away too. He doesn't like the junk I collect. He'll probably let the delivery company take it all together with the old furniture. Just like an animal that rubs its scent on its home in order to feel secure, I collected all the junk in order to make sure that I could stay here. No, that's not it. I wanted to bring them to my house because they were abandoned by their former owners, and they needed a place to live. The store where my father ordered the jackets from is a fancy boutique. It's hard to believe my father would shop at a store like this on his own. I could tell right away that Rina-san took him there. I handed over his receipt to the cashier. A short time later, the store manager came out wearing a perplexed look.
Ryugu-sama, 大変申し訳ございません。
Ryugu-sama, I'm very sorry.
実は入荷のトラックが高速で事故渋滞に巻き込まれているようでございまして。
But it seems like the truck carrying your jackets is stuck in traffic.
おそらくはもうじき到着すると思うのですが。
It should be here soon, though. He said that the driver called a while ago, told me he just got off the highway, and would be here in about an hour. I didn't need to know all the details, but he explained them to me anyway. I asked him if I should come back tomorrow. He insisted that I should wait because a truck would be coming shortly. He urged me to take a seat on their sofa. But I didn't really feel comfortable waiting there, so I told him I'd be back soon and left the store. I wondered if there were any fast food restaurants nearby. I might have to go all the way back to the station. I looked around and found a coffee house. The glass on the door was black, so I couldn't see inside. But there was a poster saying the price for a cup of tea is lower than normal for women on weekdays. I'd just be going to get a cup of tea to kill some time. It should be okay. But still, I hesitated to go inside before opening the door. Her first impression of the coffee house was the smell of cigarettes. It's normal for coffee houses to be filled with cigarette smoke. It's like a requirement. But Rina still regretted her decision. A lot less voice dialogue here in this section. Trying to find breaks to take a sip of this. That's why there's those awkward pauses, if you're ever curious. While she was thinking about leaving, the proprietor spoke to her briskly and showed her to a table. Brusquely. Rena gave up on the idea of leaving and sat down. The atmosphere in the shop was far from a clean, normal coffee house where you would go to simply enjoy coffee and cigarettes. It was more like a place where vulgar people would hang out. Oh shit, not the vulgar people. The vulgar people coffee house. Rena didn't feel comfortable at all, but what bothered her most was the laughter of a man and a woman sitting together in the very back of the shop. Her table was behind a planter, so depending on how one looked at it, one could say she was in the spot most protected from their laughter. But Rena looked as though she wanted to leave as soon as she finished her tea. The bell hanging from the entrance door rang, letting her know a customer just came in. It was a little surprising for her that a coffee shop like this could draw in so many customers. Rena peeked at the newcomers from behind the planter. There were two of them. They looked like vulgar men, the kind of people you didn't want to get involved with the instant you saw them. The proprietor tried to show them to a table, but they ignored him and walked towards the back. They walked up to the couple who had been laughing loudly and greeted them with a bow.
Oh,
Hey,
やっと来よったんか。
you finally made it.
まあ座れや。
Sit down. The couple stopped laughing, and the men told the newcomers to sit down in a threatening tone of voice. As instructed, the two of them took a seat.
んで、
So,
どういうことだ。
what happened?
すんまへん。なんとかその。
Oh, we're very sorry. We tried to.
おたくはええねポゲ。
Cut it, dipshit.
とっととうなるもんさらさんかい。
Just hand it over. The two of them looked at each other before they could take an envelope out of their pockets and put it on the table. The man roughly grabbed the two envelopes and tore one of them open. Inside, there were many wrinkled 10,000 yen bills bound into a bundle with a rubber band. He opened the other one to make sure it also had cash in it and then threw it to the woman.
おい、数えんね。
Count them.
ちょっと私に命令しないでくれる？
Oh. Hey, don't order me around.
もともと私の金なんだから。
Okay, so something, for just the listeners out here, we're being told that it's Teppei and Rena. They're the man and the woman here. Anyway, hey, don't order me around. This is originally my money, you know?
じゃがましい。
Shut up.
黙って数えんなええんねん。
Just count them. The man yelled at the woman. She licked her thumb, looking annoyed, and started counting the cash expertly. The two newcomers hung their heads while she counted. Lighting a cigarette, the man waited for her to finish counting.
はいよ。全部あるわよ。
Good. It's all here. The woman said that after flicking through the last bill. The newcomers looked relieved. The man, however, didn't look satisfied as he stared at the bundle of the bills the woman was holding.
いつか、
Ritsuko,
それいくらあった。
how much is there?
ん？全部って言ったわよ。
What? I told you it's all here.
全部っていくらかっちゅって聞いとんねん。
I'm asking you. How much is that?
だから私が貸した金全部だって言ってるでしょ。
I told you. All the money I lent them.
バゲが。
No, idiot.
利子はついとるか聞いとるんねん。
I'm asking you if they paid you the interest. The man and Ritsuko yelled at each other. Even though they were making all that noise, the other customers acted like they didn't hear anything.
おい、兄さん方。
Hey, boys.
200万ビッタンこっきゃないんね。
There's only 2 mil in here.
どういうこっちゃ。
What's going on? Two of them were trying to find some excuses to make. It seemed like this behavior had touched the man's nerves as he started looking furious.
おおら黙っとったらわからんがな。
The fuck is this? I asked you what's going on. You better start talking. His angry voice echoed through the shop. He hit the table hard and dropped a glass on the floor. The noise thickened the tension in the atmosphere.
すんまへん。
We're very sorry.
すまんで済んだら警察はいらんちゅうねん。
Being sorry doesn't give her the interest, does it?
ごしとら出るとこ出ても一個に構わんでんの。
I don't mind calling the police to solve our problem, you know?
それはどうかご勘弁ください。
Please don't. The two newcomers must have been in an extremely vulnerable position. They bowed so deeply that their foreheads almost touched the table.
それを勘弁したるって今日呼んだんねん。
I called you here because I thought you wouldn't want me to involve the police.
それがどういうけじめのつけ方な。
But then you act like you don't fucking care, hmm?
すんまへん、エロすんまへん。
We're sorry. We're very sorry. While you could pity them, the newcomers looked as vulgar as the man threatening them, making it hard to decide whether you should feel sorry for them or not. After a while, Ritsuko opened her mouth as if to offer them help.
てっちゃん、
Tit-chan?
すごんじゃかわいそうでしょ。
Don't be so mean to them. Their fucking looks just kill me for some reason. Just the both of them, like fucking the Hawaiian shirt like thing. It's the whole chain. It's all just very funny to me for some reason.
ごめんね。うちの人、銭に絡むとすぐとさかに来ちゃう人で。
I'm sorry. My guy gets mad easily when money's involved.
銭絡むと余計だね。
You don't have to add the money part.
お前にあやつけよったんから本気になっとんよ、おら。
I'm getting ticked because they're bitching at you.
もうバカなこと言っても何にも出ないわよ。
Jeez, saying those stupid things won't get you anything. The man pulled Ritsuko through roughly into his arms and frantically kissed her lips without caring about the other customers. Their kiss wasn't like the lovely ones that normal couples would share. It looked obscene instead. He let her lips go to take a breath, kissed them again, and repeated that for a while. After a while, he finally got bored of kissing and let her go.
うちの人は私のことになるとすぐ頭に血が上っちゃうのよね。
He gets really mad when it comes to me, too.
困ったもんなのよ。
He's impossible.
おう、そうよ。
So what?
こいつと俺はいわば一心同体ね。
This woman's like a part of my body.
この女に泥塗り腐るやつは俺に塗ったんと同じやんな。
Putting dirt on her means putting dirt on me.
血祭りじゃすまんね。
Whoever tries to do that is in for a bloodbath.
いつぞやかの、ほら、あいつ。
Do you remember the guy with the comb over?
あれ、表連れてってからどうしたんだったっけ？
I forgot what you did to that guy after you took him outside.
あんバカが。
I remember him.
表へ出るとか抜かしよんからかかとくれてやったわ。
He challenged me, wanting to take it outside.
野郎空手やるとか抜かしおるからどの程度か思うたん。ちょっと芝居たら即土下座やん。
He said he did karate, so I got a little excited to see what he had, and I punched him in the stomach. But then he just kneeled down on the ground.
拍子抜けしたからズボン脱がせてそいつでこの表の歩道を磨かせてやったわ。
I was disappointed, so I took off his pants and underwear and made him clean the public toilets with them.
おお、俺町の役に立っとんね。
See? I'm helping society.
お役所に表彰してもらいたいんわ。
I deserve an award for that one.
やだ、そんなことさせたの？
I can't believe you made him do that.
あんたって時々容赦がないのよね。
You're so gross sometimes. They started laughing loudly like they were doing earlier. Their laughter obviously intimidated their companions.
ねえ、あんたたち。
Listen, you two.
てっちゃん、今日はね、すっごく機嫌がいいの。
Tit-chan is actually in a very good mood today.
普段だったら銭が足りんって騒ぎ出して、今頃あんたたちすっぱだかにされて玉子川に叩き込まれてるわよ。
Usually he'd start yelling, "This is enough money," and you'd be thrown into the Uchi River naked by now.
すんまへん、すんまへん。
We truly apologize for the inconvenience.
まあ
Well,
利子は忘れたちゅうたかてかっちり期日までに額を揃えたんだきゃ感心さな。
you forgot about the interest, but you did put it together all the rest of the money in time. I'm impressed.
そこいらへん評価したってもええんで。
So, I'll be nice and take that into consideration, you know?
それでね、
Anyway,
てっちゃんの利子、ちょいとあんまりだと思ったのよ。
his interest rate is a little high.
今日だから5本で済むけど、すぐに売買ゲームになっちゃうでしょ。
But it's only 5 if you pay it today. If you wait even a day longer, it'll be doubled.
そしたらあんたたちすぐに逆立ちしても払えなくなっちゃうわよ。
And if it's doubled, I don't think you'll be able to pay it no matter what you do.
でね、私あんたたちにいい話があんの。
So, I'm going to make you a deal.
てっちゃん、悪いけどあんたちょっと席を外してちょうだい。
Tit-chan, would you give us a minute?
しょうがねえな。
Sure, guess it's okay. The man left the table with a grin and headed for the bathroom. He was far too amenable to that request, as if they'd planned for him to leave the table at that moment. Oh, it's scripted. Ritsuko made sure he was in the bathroom, then took some papers out of her bag and spread them on the table.
あんたたちも若いんだから、
You're young.
あんなヤクザに絡まれて一生を不意にしたくないでしょ。
You don't want to ruin your life because of an outlaw like him, do you?
だからね、てっちゃんの利子は今日きっちり払っちゃいなさい。
So, I recommend you pay all the interest today.
そうすればあんたたちはとりあえずあいつとは縁を切れるわけなんだから。
If you do, you can cut your ties with him.
そりゃそうですけど、
We understand that, but
でも50万なんてこれ以上もう払えないっす。
but we can't get 500,000 yen just like that.
まあそうよね。200万だって相当精一杯集めたんでしょ。
I understand. I bet you tried really hard to collect the 2 million yen.
さらに50万も工面できる当てなんてないでしょ
I understand there's no one who'd help you out with another 500,000. They must have done their very best to collect even the money they brought today. So, it must be impossible for them to collect even a dime from anybody now. They hung their heads and told her that.
う。でね、
However,
ほら、気を利かせて私が書いてきてあげたのよ。
take a look. I made this for you. The guys looked at the paper on the table and muttered under their breaths.
担保も連帯もいらないんで、ちょいと利率はあれだけど。
You don't need collateral or joint guarantor for this, so the interest rate is a bit high.
これなら即50万積んでくれるわよ。
But with this, you can take out a loan of 500,000 yen right away.
それにさ、この利率でもてっちゃんの利率よりははるかにマシだと思うんだけど、どう思うかしら。
Even this interest rate is a lot better than Tit-chan's. What do you think? Ah, yes. Get debt to pay off debt. Rob Peter to pay Paul. You gotta love that type of situation. It'd be easy for anyone to guess what Ritsuko was trying to force them to
これ
do.
にサインしたのを見せれば、彼も男気を感じて勘弁してくれると思うわね。
If you show him this with your signature on it, I'm sure he'll let you off. Now, I had this question earlier and I just didn't ask because I thought the answer would be, you know, answered or whatever. Why is it calling this character Ritsuko? Is this like a code name they have? Does Rina know that this is Rina? Like her Rina? Like, does Rina know this is Rina? I'm a little I'm confused. We're not like so far back in the timeline, or is this before she knows that this is what Rina looked like? The lady he was dating, that her father. I'm confused. Am I wrong in thinking something? I assume my answer is going to be the answer will be given at some point. Maybe we're supposed to be left somewhat nebulous at this point, or maybe I've made a horrible mistake somewhere. Let's hope we get the answer regardless. But I was wondering, I'm like, wait, why is that a different name? Or are we? I mean, the game is not at all hiding the fact that this is the person we saw earlier, and also the name is here. So, like, is it like we the reader know, but Rina doesn't? Because it was said that her view was. Did it say that her view was obstructed? So she only heard the name Ritsuko. I don't know. We'll find out. If you show him this with your signature on it, I'm sure he'll let you off.
どうする？
It's your choice, though.
あ、万年筆。使うなら置いとくわよ。
If you need a pen, you can use mine. Here. They read the small print on the documents and were stunned by the outrageous interest rate. Ritsuko didn't force them to do anything. She just looked out the window and smoked her cigarette. After a while, the man returned from the bathroom.
おう、話はついたか？
Hey, did you come to an agreement? They looked at him, steeled themselves, and took the pen.
てっちゃんの利子借金で一括返済するって。
They're going to borrow money to pay your interest. It's only 500,000 yen, so they can pay their debts soon if they work really hard.
おおおう、関心なワークオートだね。
That's great, I'm impressed.
男は背負うもんがなくちゃあかんね。
Men get tougher when they have something burning them. They must have planned this from the very beginning. The man and Ritsuko got what they wanted and grinned at each other. There were many things to fill out on the documents, and it was taking them a long time. The man and Ritsuko, already knowing that, started talking amongst themselves.
リツコ、お前のひなみ沢の旦那の調子はどうなんね？
Ritsuko, how's your husband in Hamazawa doing?
ん？
Okay, so with the music and this kind of, I assume this is now where our Rina is going to learn. What?
旦那なんてよしてよね。
He's not my husband.
どうなんよ。
What's going on with him?
だいぶ銭持っとんと聞かされてるん。
I heard he has a lot of money.
どのぐらい絞れそうなんよ。
How much do you think you can squeeze out of him?
そうそう、それがさ、すっごいのよ。
Well, you'll be so surprised.
別れた奥さんがだいぶ慰謝料をくれたらしいってのは聞いてたのよ。
Uh-oh. I heard his ex-wife gave him a settlement when they divorced, right?
でもね、それが本当にすっげえあるらしいのよね。
But I just found out that she gave him a lot.
かなりってどのぐらいねん？
How much is a lot?
銀行に5000万くらい持ってるわよ。
He has about 50 million yen in the bank.
あぶく銭なわけだしね。もう気前がいいのなんのって。
He's a big spender. Wow!
なんねそれ。
That's real big!
で、どの辺までいけそうなんね？
So, how much do you think you can squeeze out of him?
私にだいぶお熱みたいだからね。
He has a big crush on me.
だって私が言えば何でも買うのよ。何でも。
He buys me anything I want. Anything.
あんたみたいなドケチとは大違いよね。
He's not cheap like you.
私も本気になっちゃおうかしら。
I might get serious about him.
抜かせボケ。
I don't think so.
俺以上の男が他にいるかや。
Your body won't be satisfied with anyone but me.
もうこんなところでよしてよ。もう。
Stop it. Not here. Oh my god, dude. Our Rina, gonna fucking go off. Oh man. A storm's a brewing. What's that clip? Oh honey, a storm is coming.
で、そのひなみ沢の旦那にどう持ってくつもりなんよ。
So, what's the plan?
あんたを出しに手切れ金がいるって方向で持ってくつもりなのよ。
I'm thinking about telling him I need some more money to get rid of my ex-boyfriend.
なんぼふっかけるつもりね。
How much you gonna ask him for?
そりゃ
Whisper.
くずが恐ろしい女じゃんね。
You're a scary woman.
エキストラがいるときは呼んでな。
Let me know if you need an actor for your play.
俺も大暴れしちゃるんで。
I'll be your scary ex-boyfriend.
すみません。書きました。
Excuse me, we finished.
ああ、
Great.
じゃ、それ持ってローン行こうか。
Let's bring it over to the loan company.
リツコ、会計頼むね。
Let's go. Take care of the check, would you? The man patted them on the shoulders and then walked to the door. Another person was just about to enter and they nearly ran into each other. The man probably wouldn't make way for the person considering his personality. But when he noticed who that person was, he stepped aside. Oh, the person looked as vulgar as all the other men. He was wearing a black suit with sunglasses on. He wasn't that big, but his stern look was very intimidating. It was clear at a glance that he was a gangster and a professional one at that. The man who was behaving badly earlier looked a little nervous in front of him. As Ritsuko finished paying the check, she noticed the man in the suit.
総支配人。
Oh, General Manager.
どうもおはようございます。
Good morning, sir. The man in the suit said nothing. He just raised his chin as if saying, fuck off. Ritsuko and the others bowed to him and left the shop in a hurry. The proprietor noticed the man in the suit, also greeting him with a bow. Who could he have been? He appeared sedate compared to the other men, but he must be dangerous because he made even them step aside. Everybody in the shop thought the same thing and tried not to look at him. The man in the suit looked around and found the menu on the wall. The proprietor walked up to him hesitantly.
Master.
Hey, waiter.
はい。何か不調法がございましたでしょうか。
Yes, is anything bothering you, sir?
この日替わりデザートのスイートなんとかというのは今日はやっているのか。
Do you have this seasonal dessert, sweet something or other today?
Huh?
Huh?
いえ、本当は今日はやってないんですが、どうしてもとおっしゃるんでしたら特別にご用意を。
Oh, no, actually, we aren't running that today, but, well, if you insisted, then we can make it especially for you.
無理なら無理と言ってくれればいい。
If you're not selling it, you're not selling it.
出直す。
I'll come back some other day.
ほら葛西
Oh, the bright, cheery music. Hey, Kasai.
特別にご用意って言ってくれてるじゃないですか。
He said he'd make it for you.
ここまで来てみっともない。
Take his offer. We came all the way here. The girl seemed to be the only one who couldn't read the heavy atmosphere in the shop, as she came in laughing cheerfully. It was Mion Sonozaki's twin sister, Shion. Shion pushed Kasai into the store while he hesitated. She looked at a girl who was sitting down and stopped in her tracks.
あれ
Huh?
やっぱりそうだ。ハロロ
Oh, it's you. Hello.
ーン。レナさんじゃないですか。
Rina-san.
こんにちは。
How are you doing? Not great.
あ、しーちゃん
Oh, Shi-chan.
こんなとこで会うなんてびっくりです。
I'm surprised to see you here.
あれ
Huh?
お一人
Are you here by yourself?
ひょっとして誰かと待ち合わせ
You waiting for someone?
お姉かな
Is it my sis?
いやいや、ひょっとしてケイちゃんか
Or maybe, could it be Ki-chan?
しーちゃん
Shi-chan.
その連れの人は
Who is this? Hmm?
な葛西のこと
Are you talking about Kasai here?
まあ、私のボディーガードとか思っといてください。
He's like my bodyguard.
命の危険が迫ったら、葛西が守ってくれるんだよね。
He'll protect me when my life is in danger, won't you?
それがお望みでしたら命に変えてでも。
I'll give my life for your sake if that's what you want me to do.
うわ
Wow!
ー、葛西、あと20も若かったらやばいかもだね。
Kasai, if you were 20 years younger, I might have fallen for you.
顔は怖いけど面白いやつです。
He looks scary, but he's a very funny guy.
こちらはね、竜宮レナさん、
This is Rina Ryugu-san.
お姉のお友達。
She's Sis's friend.
葛西です。
My name is Kasai.
よろしく。
Nice to meet you.
葛西さん
Kasai-san,
さっきすれ違った人たちは知り合いですか
do you know the people who just walked past you? Kasai nodded, indicating that he was familiar with them.
誰
Who are they?
私は全然あんなの見たことないけど。
I've never seen them before.
男は北条哲平。
The man is Teppei Hojo,
ちょいと礼儀知らずのろくでなしです。
a skunk of a human being. Shion seemed to know who he was once she heard the name Hojo.
女の人の方は
And the woman?
間宮里奈。
Rina Mamiya.
源氏名だと思いました。
I believe that's her business name.
確か律子って名前だったかと。フラワーロードの店の一つで働いてる従業員です。
There we go. Explained. I just had to wait a little bit. Her real name is Ritsuko Mamiya, I think. She's a hostess at Flower Road.
葛西さん
Kasai-san,
リナさんとその北条さんはどういう人たちなんですか？
do you know what he is to her?
とても仲が良さそうに見えました。
They look like a couple to me.
北条は確かリナとは深い仲かと。
Hojo is Rina's pimp.
たちの悪い連中ですので、関わり合いになられない方がいいと思います。
They're very, very bad people, so you should never get involved with them.
どうたちが悪いんですか？
How bad are they? Rina pressed him for the answer, and Kasai seemed to back down a little from that pressure.
女の私生活には触れないのが仁義ってもんです。
It's more courteous to stay out of a woman's private affairs.
どうたちが悪いんですか？
How bad are they?
それはご勘弁を。
Please don't ask.
どうたちが悪いんですか？
How bad are they? Rina kept asking the same question until she got an answer. Shion sensed how desperate Rina was and cut into the conversation.
葛西
Kasai,
意地悪しないで教えてあげなさいよ。
why don't you just tell her?
興味本位で聞いてるわけじゃなさそうだしさ。
I don't think she's asking out of curiosity.
ね、レナさん。
Am I right, Rina-san? There was tension developing between Rina and Kasai. Shion seemed to be the only one who couldn't read the mood. Kasai finally opened his mouth.
あの二人はたちの悪いろくでなしどもです。
They're both skunks, really.
恐喝と博打で生計を立ててると聞いています。
I've heard that they make a living by gambling and blackmailing people.
詐欺行為もやるって話で。
I've also heard that they set up badger games.
詐欺ってどんな？
What's a badger game?
あいつらの詐欺ってのは、まあ何？
Well, a badger game is like a
結婚詐欺ってやつですか？
marriage fraud?
要するに男の人に言い寄っていい感じになったところで相棒の男が乱入して俺の女に何しやがるって金を巻き上げる古典的恐喝です。
The woman finds a catch, a man who has money, and begins a relationship with him. Then, her boyfriend shows up and catches him in the act, blames the guy for stealing his girlfriend, and blackmails him for money.
散々貢がされた
Oh, no.
根こそぎ巻き上げようっていうクズどもです。
First, the woman makes him buy expensive stuff for her, and then she and her boyfriend take all of his money.
最近でかい相手を引っ掛けたらしいと噂になっています。
There's a rumor that she's got herself a big catch recently. God, this is so fucked up. This is so fucked up for the dad. And for Rina. Now Rina. Oh, God. It's just... This is depressive. I gotta say. Oh, fuck. Makes me sad. There's a rumor that she's got herself a big catch recently.
ちゃあ
Wow.
そりゃあどちら様か存じないけど気の毒なことで。
Whoever that is, I'm so sorry for him.
で
This
も
is,
まあ
this is Rina's Joker
鼻の
moment.
下を伸ばした代償なわけだし。
Well, the guy had some fun with her too.
自業自得？
I guess he gets what he deserves.
そんな言い方はないもんです。
That's a little harsh, Shion-san.
男は時にコロッと女に騙されちまうもんですよ。
A man sometimes falls for a woman very easily.
ほー。
Oh, really?
何それ。葛西をコロッと騙した女って誰？
I wonder whom you fell for.
マスター、デザートは私と葛西と、あとレナさんでって、あれ？
Waiter, bring the dessert to us, please. Wait, where'd she go?
今お帰りになりましたよ。
She just took her leave. Rena was already gone. The door, which had just closed, looked as if it was the only thing that knew where she went. When I got home, the door was locked. I used my key to get in, and I found a note in the living room. Something's come up, so I have to go. I'm going to eat out tonight, is what the note said. This wasn't the first time he'd done something like this. Each time he only told me he had to go to Okinomiya for something. But I knew the real reason, because I heard him talking on the phone once. Rina-san must have had some free time between jobs and asked him out to have dinner together. I heaved a sigh, looked at the new living room I hated, and went to my room. I thought back over what I just heard at the coffee house. I tried to rationalize the meaning of her actions there. Maybe she had to pretend to be a bad person because she was being threatened by the man. But even after the man, she called it Tichan, left the table, she continued to threaten the guys and pushed them into signing the loan contract immediately. If she was threatened to play along with the man, she wouldn't have done that. If she was pretending to be a bad person, she could have shown a little bit of mercy or sympathy when he left her alone with them. It's like holding water in a bowl you made with your hands. No matter how sturdy you made the bowl, water would leak from your fingers. Mercy and sympathy leak out from you. But nothing, not even a drop of water, leaked from Rina-san. Her hands weren't even moist. They were all dried up. Dry hands. There was no water that could leak through those hands. Rina-san was threatening those guys as much as the man was. Neither was leading the other along. They were doing it together. That was it. Rina-san is a bad person. My brain cells accepted the idea with applause. After all, I always hated Rina-san. I just couldn't accept the feeling because my father liked her. But at that moment, I could finally accept it. She's a bad person, just like my mother. She's an existence that will ruin everything and destroy my father's happiness just by being with him. But I wonder if my father would understand that Rina-san is a bad person if I told him so. My father likes her so much that he would jump over a cliff if she asked him to. He thinks everything she does or says is great, and he interprets everything about her in a positive way. He protects her and praises her without her asking him to. I'm not a kid anymore. I understand how a woman can tame a man. It's different from love. Love is about trying to build a relationship. Taming is just a way of satisfying the lust to dominate. She's just trying to make him into her slave. Women can deceive men, even my father. They can use dirty methods to ensnare men like they're following a manual. It's the weak point all men are born with. Even with a strong will, they can't resist it. That's why we hate those women who exploit that weak point to deceive men. That's why I couldn't bring myself to like Rina-san. For the sake of argument, let's assume I acknowledge an unreciprocated love like that. But that would only be as long as it was love. If it wasn't love, if it was just a method to threaten and squeeze money out of him, I would never forgive her. I remember their conversation at the coffee house. Rina-san said that my father is a big spender. In fact, I think he spends more money without hesitation than before he met Rina-san. I was happy that he started to regain an interest in going out into the world again, but now I don't know whether I should be happy or not. He controls the money of the Ryugu family overall, but since I do the grocery shopping, he often gives me his bank book so that I can withdraw money. Because of that, I know where he keeps his bank book, his personal seal, and other important stuff. They're in one of his drawers, which he usually locks. I know where he hides the key, and I know the combination of the cash box inside the drawer. He might be coming back soon, so I felt a little nervous. But I had to make sure. I opened the cash box, which had some bank books, personal seals, stamps, and unused postcards. I removed everything from the cash box to get at the bank books. Then, I found something new. On the bottom of the box, there was a bundle of new 10,000 yen bills. Its thickness wasn't something I could ignore. There was also a paper wrapper that looked like I had been bundling the bills. The wrapper had a stamp that said it was a bundle of 1,000,000 yen. He usually kept some cash at home because it was troublesome to go to the bank every time he needed money. But it was usually around 100,000 to 200,000 yen at most. He's never kept such a big amount of money at home before, because he knows it's unsafe. The extraordinary amount of 10,000 yen bills was abnormally intimidating. I tried to open the bank book, but my fingers got numb all of a sudden. Part of me was trying to deny the things I heard at the coffee house. It wasn't because I wanted to defend my father, or even Rina-san. It was because I didn't want to believe my father was the husband in Hinamizawa the blackmailers were talking about. I opened the bank book. Last time I saw it was about 2 or 3 months ago. It shows countless withdrawals since that day. I probably wouldn't normally understand what those numbers meant, but I felt in that moment as if the 10 different digits were speaking to me. They were a series of cruel digits. Starts with some understandable expenses that I assume represent dinners or something. But then, the amount of money starts to become nice round numbers, like a 5 or a 10. I can tell by looking at the dates he withdrew money that he was wanted to have a certain amount of cash on hand when he went out with Rina-san. Among those expenses, a big number appeared all of a sudden. It was too much money to spend on a date. Hundreds of thousands of yen. I looked at the date of the withdrawal. I traced it back in my memory. I remembered. Around that time, Rina-san was talking about moving into a new apartment. I know the market rate of rental apartments in Okinomiya. You need to put down 2 safety deposits and 2 payments of key money in order to rent an apartment. That amount of withdrawal sounded reasonable now. He paid the whole down payment for her new apartment. After that, big numbers appeared one after another. I could tell they were for congratulatory gifts for a new apartment or something. The numbers got bigger and bigger. It looked like at first he was withdrawing only the amount of money needed, but then he started withdrawing big amounts all at once because he knew he was going to use it someday anyway. The change meant only one thing. He lost his sense of the value of money. The balance kept going down and I started feeling anxious about what's going to happen if he continued spending money like that. But then, I saw a deposit of a big amount of money into the account. Where did that money come from? There was only one thing I could think of. I opened the other bank book. It was easy, like a puzzle for kids. It was like playing with an easy jigsaw puzzle that came with huge pieces that you don't even have to put together to see what the whole picture looks like. My father was using money from his time deposits. In other words, the settlement my mother paid my father when she divorced him. To him, it's cursed money. I'd understand if he wanted to use it to get a new love, but that was just an excuse to use the money from his time deposits. Money is money. Even though it's his divorce alimony, it's still important money for our future. Even though it's cursed money to him, that doesn't mean he can waste it. Big expenses start appearing one after another. There are many expenses, upwards of 6 digits. For some reason, I could immediately tell they were for buying electric appliances and furniture. He must have been buying everything she asked him to. If, from the beginning, Rina-san was only seeing to check if he could end up being a big catch, she must have been trying to find out how much money she could squeeze out of him. And my father bought her anything she wanted, no matter how expensive it was. So she probably thinks of him as the perfect catch now. The numbers in the bank book told me so. The simple numbers and dates on the bank book had started talking to me. Rina, we're numbers. Around the time he started withdrawing big amounts of money, Rina-san started coming to the house more often, and she also started spending the night. To Rina-san, my father was at first just a guy who spends big money, but around that time, she landed her big catch. My father used to refer to her as my friend in Okinomiya at first, but he started referring to her as Rina-san around that time. This is partially his fault, but he was betrayed by his beloved wife, and he was feeling hurt and down for a long time. It's also partially my fault. That's why I didn't want to blame him. And he's not that good looking either. Damn. There's no way he's immune to women. He must have not been able to resist an attractive lady who aggressively approached him when he was feeling down. He's crazy about Rina-san, and he can see nothing other than her. I can't blame him because Rina-san trained him to be that way. I put the bank books and the other things back into the cash box. This cash box is just like my father's heart. Rina-san is eating up the contents. What should I do? Think, Rina Ryugu. Should I tell him about Rina-san's scheme? No, this probably won't do anything. The whole point of taming an animal is that it won't run away from its owner even when the door is wide open. My father probably won't leave his cage even if I open the door. Should I confront Rina-san about her plot when he's with her? The results would be the same. Rina-san would run behind his back. He'd probably try to protect her. If she pressed her breasts against his back, he'd protect her no matter what. No man can resist the pushing of the breasts against their back. It's a high-level move. I couldn't make this a problem between me and him. First of all, I was trying to get rid of Rina-san for his sake. If we got mad at each other, it would give the advantage to Rina-san. It would be like I was putting myself into a trap. Then, that meant I couldn't make him do anything. If I couldn't make him break up with Rina-san, I'd have to talk to Rina-san directly. So, instead of making my father fight, I'd have to fight in his place. Oh, hell yeah. But how? That guy, Kasai-san, who was with Shi-chan today, seemed to know the man Rina-san was with. I wonder if I can somehow meet him again. He looks scary, but I was introduced to him as a friend of Mi-chan. Mi-chan has a lot of power around here. There's no way he could treat me badly. I wondered if you could tell Rina-san and the man to back off from my father. That'd help me a lot. But I didn't know how I could meet him again. I could ask Mi-chan for help, but I don't want her to know about my situation. This is a problem of the Ryugu family. This is nobody's business but mine. Yeah, this is a battle that I'd have to fight alone. I regretted my parents' divorce. I wept about the tragedy I could have prevented if I had tried. I wasn't going to weep this time. I wasn't going to let the chance slip away. This time, I wouldn't fight for my happiness. Let's go, Rina. Let's go. Let's go on the offensive, Rina. Let's do it. Let's fight. I'm ready to fight. You gotta say, like, though, like, damn, what are the fucking coincidence? What's the coincidence that she would, I mean, because you assume that a whole string of events is gonna spring from this. What are the fucking odds that she would be sent by her father from their house to go pick up some jackets at a place? The jackets were delayed getting to the place, so she said, oh, the store owner of the jackets was like, just wait here. She's like, oh, I'll go get some food. She walks into a particular store that kind of is shifty, and then she sees the two of them there. It's like, what are the fucking odds? You know? Crazy string of events. And if just one of those things, butterfly effects, one of those events didn't happen, we probably wouldn't be going down this whole path where Rina is swearing to enact some justice, right? How exciting. Property estimate. Dear Ritsuko Miami, welcome to Miami. Did you see that shit? Fuck, fucking Pitbull, bought like naming rights to the Florida International University like football stadium and stuff for like 5 years. It's actually pretty dope. There's like a bigger conversation about like university athletics and like if you're like a school that's in like the higher level of university athletics, or you're supposed to be, but you don't have like the funds to be like keeping up with like the big dogs, like, you know, your Alabamas and your Texases and your stuff like that. I'm talking about university systems. This is not a topic most people are going to find interesting, but I always will applaud if you're one of the struggling schools. Do something interesting, and this is at least something. You get a fat paycheck from Mr. Worldwide. You get your stadium to be named named after Pitbull. It's at least exciting. I get a lot of money for like 5 years, you know? It's interesting. Just interesting. I was thinking about that because I said Miami. Fun fact, I was born in Miami. Actually, that's not a very fun fact, right? It's not fun at all. It's just a fact. It's a mid-fact. Alright, so dear Ritsuko Mamiya-sama. Mamma Mia. Executive Housing Corporation. Attached estimate. We thank you for your past visits and inquiries to our office. We've included the estimate for the property you inquired about. Basic information. Property name, Palace of Versailles, room 707. Property code 14M1421. Property type, modern condominium. Layout, 2LDK. Address, Shishibone City, Kawacho to Chon? I don't know. Transportation, XXX line, Gogura Station, 5 minutes on foot. Cost, 49,800,000 yen. Maintenance fee, 20,000 yen. Other, southeast corner room, elevator floor. Condominium fitness club membership included. Thank you for your interest in this property. The area around Gogura Station is a prime real estate zone for luxury condominiums. Along with future planned developments, the real estate values in and around the Gogura Station are expected to rise, and this property is not an exception. As a result, many prospective buyers are interested in this property. Hence, we'd like for you to understand that the selection process for this property will be done via lottery. Also, we also offer celebrity member preferential treatment, granting highly improved chances through additional lottery entries. Please feel free to inquire with our agents for more details. Executive Housing Corporation. Celebrity Account Manager, Kawabata. Great. Alright, that didn't take super long to read, so we can read another section. I do have to throw up a BRB. I'm gonna get some water. I've almost finished the kombucha. It wasn't a bad experience, but I don't think it was particularly great. But it wasn't bad. It's actually decent. It's just weird. It's not what I was expecting. That's what I would say. It's not what I was expecting at all. I honestly wasn't expecting it to be a little fizzy either, which is weird. I'm so ignorant when it comes to kombucha. I'll put it on the screen so you have just the faintest of noises. I will be back shortly. Give me about 5 or so minutes. I'll throw up this BRB, and then we will read the next section. Just be right back. Alright. I'm back. Let's see, where is this? There we go. Legs stretched. Alright, so we're under the assumption Rina is going to take matters into her own hands somehow. Most likely. She's just crazy enough to do it. I believe in her. Honestly, this is an interesting potential. If the story is going that route where Rina decides to correct a wrong that is taking place, kind of like other stories. Like, compare this to the last chapter with Shion, the artist formerly known as Shion. Where there were a lot of assumptions being made on Shion's part, and she I mean, I'm not saying necessarily she was wrong in a lot of cases, but man, she went ballistic because she felt like she was wronged. But there was a lot there was a lot of conclusions she was jumping to, and kind of like and honestly, selfish reasons. Rina here, at least, is kind of doing this to protect her father, or what she's saying is protecting her father. She admits that she already from the get-go didn't like this new Rina. But this is like the thing where she's like, oh hell, like the seal is broken and I can do this because my father doesn't deserve this kind of thing. So it's an interesting contrast between just the last chapter. Now, do I think Rina has the facilities and the access to certain areas and weapons, and she doesn't have all of the resources that Shion had to enact her revenge, it's seemingly. So Rina might have to get like a bit more creative depending on how far she's going to take this. And it's interesting because I said, you know, Shion was jumping to a lot of conclusions. There is a small chance, the game even pointed it out, that there's a small chance, although I don't know how likely it is at this point, especially because we've seen the sprites, we're seeing the two things. It's all been pointed to us, but the game pointed out slightly that Rina even admitted, hey, maybe my father isn't the one they're talking about when they say there was a guy in Hinamizawa, right? That they got a new catch in Hinamizawa. But I think that was more of like a desperate mind thing in Rina's brain, right? If that makes sense. So I'm interested to see where this goes. Let us continue.
ああ、そりゃ多分葛西さんだね。
Oh, you're talking about Kasai-san.
シオンの監視役だよ。
He's Shion's watchdog.
監視役なの？
Her watchdog? Really?
まあね。
Yeah, he is.
シオンのやつ、私と比べると突拍子もないことをするからさ。
Shion tends to do crazy things.
監視役が必要なわけよ。
So she needs to have someone with her all the time.
ミオンもシオンもその意味においちゃ互角だと思うぞ。
I think you're as crazy as Shion. Ketchy couldn't cut into the conversation. They ended up making a lot of noise, teasing each other like they always do. Mion made it sound like that man, Kasai-san, is some sort of territory boss in Okinomiya. It wouldn't be easy for me to meet him in person. But because he's Shi-chan's watchdog, I might be able to find a way. The problem, though, is that I don't have any connection to Shi-chan either. We hang around every once in a while whenever she comes to Hinamizawa, but I've never called or visited her. I have no idea how we can meet. Even if I could meet Kasai-san, there's no guarantee that he'd help me. He seems like the kind of person who doesn't want to gossip about others, He told me about Rina-san at the coffee house only because Shi-chan pushed him to. Plus, the situation could grow worse very quickly while I waited for the chance to meet him, so any help he might offer could come too late. I don't know, I was gonna say, like, I know Rina's a little kid. I think she kind of talked about how she feels like she wouldn't have an opportunity to just approach this about with her dad. But is it she doesn't feel that she'll believe him, or she doesn't want to break his heart? I'm curious. I don't know if it was fully said last one, unless I missed a sentence or something. Now that I'm thinking about it, but like, if she was to approach him and say, "Hey, Dad, here's through a weird string of events." I mean, it comes down to like, does her dad believe her, kind of thing. But like, that's the case. Like, do I think she's not doing that because her dad would say you're just being preposterous, kind of thing, or does she not have? Is she not wanting to have his heart broken again by her hand, essentially, and try to ruin this thing that's otherwise making him very happy, you know? Also, I feel like I should point this out too. Not like it matters much, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, but she even admitted, Rina's inner monologue admitted that the dad is kind of a pathetic guy. She called him ugly, which is kind of upsetting. But like, I don't know. Maybe the dad is totally fine with the fact that he's being kind of fucked around with his money or whatever. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's a good thing at all, but I'm saying, like, I mean, I can't relate, but like, what if some people are totally fine with them, if especially if they're sitting on quite a bit of money, while most people would probably look at it and disagree that's a way to live life. Like, if he's like, oh, I've got this uber attractive person into me, and it's because I've got money and I can spend a bunch of money and she's into my money, maybe he's fine with that. Again, I'm not saying it's good, and clearly Rina thinks that money should be spent otherwise and spent better on the family, the two of them, she even said. But like, I don't know, it's a weird situation. I don't know, I'm looking for any excuse. For some reason, I feel like I'm looking for any excuse for this to go horribly. Like, even though Rina thinks she might be doing some kind of justice, is there going to be an angle where it's going to be looked at and she's going to be in the wrong somehow? That's what I'm trying to, like, fish around for. I'm curious. Anyway. I remember Kasai-san told me that, as her next step, Rina-san usually uses her partner to threaten their catch. That would signify the end of her performance. They were going to take all of my father's money. I wasn't feeling a sense of crisis yet, but that time might be coming very soon. Even as I was at school, taking a class peacefully, that man might already be at the house right at this moment, threatening my father to hand over his bank books. Once I become anxious, I got more and more anxious. Once I become anxious, I get more and more anxious. Okay. I feel a big pressure on my chest, as if the ceiling had collapsed on me.
いやー、平和すぎて退屈だぜ。
Man, I'm so bored. My life is too peaceful. Shut up, Ketchy. Ketchy talks to me, yawning.
そうかな。
Is that so bad?
レナは平和で退屈なの大好きだよ。
I'd love to have a peaceful life that'd bore me.
俺はごめんだね。
I don't...
せめて火星人が襲来するくらいのことが、毎週とは言わないまでにも、月末くらいには欲しいところだぜ。
I wish some kind of big event would happen, like aliens coming to attack us or something. I'm not saying I'd like to have something like that happen every week, but at least at the end of every month or so.
あ、定期テストはなしでだぜ。
Oh, and that does include our monthly test.
もし本当に火星人が攻めてきて世界中が滅ぼされてひなみ沢も焼け野原になったらケイチ君は退屈が紛れて満足かな？
If aliens really did come, destroyed the Earth, and burned all of Hinamizawa, would you be satisfied?
かな。
Would you?
いや、そこまでは言ってねえよ。
No, that's not what I mean.
何かアクシデントの一つもないと退屈で溶けちまいそうだぜって言いたかっただけだぜ。
I'm just saying that I want for some kind of excitement because I'm so bored. He had no idea of what I've been going through, of course, and that's why he says that. But I was still irritated by his insensitivity. I couldn't understand why he wouldn't be satisfied with such a peaceful life. He never has to doubt that today and tomorrow will be as fun as yesterday. I was all too aware that boring and peaceful days could be destroyed all of a sudden. I knew that boring and peaceful days could come to an end all of a sudden because your mom wanted to divorce your dad. I knew that you could feel like you didn't belong anywhere in your own house because your dad had gotten a new girlfriend. Even so, you had to repeat the same kind of day over and over again. That's why I want to live every day happily in order to be prepared when the world comes to its end.
レナは日々が幸せそうでいいよな。
I'm jealous of you, you know? You look so happy all the time.
そういうのもスキルなのかな。
I
ちょ
wish
っと羨ましいぜ。
I wish I had that kind of skill.
そんなの羨ましがられても困るな。
You're jealous of me, huh?
日々を退屈でなく幸せに過ごすのって何かコツでもあるのか？
How do you do it? How do you live every day not being bored but being happy?
あるなら教えてくれよ。俺も得得してみたいぜ。
If it really is a skill, I'd love to learn how.
そんなの簡単だよ。
That's easy.
気づくだけだもん。
All you need to do is to realize.
気づくって？
Realize what? There's no way he could realize it. And it was probably better that he didn't, because that meant he was truly happy.
気づくだけだよ。
You just need to realize
幸せな日々が有限であることに。
that your happy days will one day come to an end. Well, okay, Rena. Well, that's actually that's both a very true statement. Like, it makes sense. Like, hey, for you to appreciate your happy days currently and always act happy, you just got to realize that the happy days are going to come to an end at some point. You know? That's a good point, and also it's also foreboding. It's also like kind of ominous sounding too. It's like, Rena, what do you mean happy days are going to end? The three of us walked home from school like we always did. Mi-chan said goodbye to us at the corner of the street where she took her separate way home. She walked away, waving, but I chased after her. Mi-chan! Mi-chan! Huh? What? Mi-chan apparently thought she dropped something, and she looked around to see what she dropped.
忘れるところだった。
I almost forgot to tell you.
実はね、昨日喫茶店でしーちゃんと笠井さんに会ったの。
I saw Shi-chan and Kasai-san yesterday at a coffee house.
その時にね、笠井さんの落とし物を拾ったの。
And I picked up something that Kasai-san dropped while he was there. Of course, he hadn't dropped anything. I was just lying. If I could meet him, I'd just show him whatever. Tell him I thought it was his, and apologize for my mistake.
へえ、あ、そう。それありがとう。
Oh, well, thank you then.
届けとくよ。
I'll send it over to him in that case.
それでね、レナが直接返したいの。
I'd like to give it back to him in person.
Huh?
Huh? Mi-chan looked surprised. I couldn't blame her. I'd met him only once. It's weird to want to give something back in person to someone you barely know.
まあ、そりゃ構わないけど、なんでまた？
Well, that's alright, but why?
サングラスにおひげがね。
He had this cute beard and these cute sunglasses.
ちょっぴり可愛かったの。
I'm so crazy about cute things.
はう。
How? Could I fudge my true intentions with my cute mode? I tried it anyway. Mi-chan usually takes words at their face value, and indeed she seemed to buy it.
口ひげを引っこ抜いてお持ち帰りしちゃダメだよ。
Please don't pull out his beard and take it home with you.
で、その どうかな、会えるかな。
So, do you think I can meet him?
忙しいのか暇なのか全然見当つかない人だからね。
Well, I have no idea if he's busy or not.
今度ひなみ沢に来る用事がないか聞いておくよ。
I'll ask him when he's coming over to Inamizawa next. I need to know when as soon as possible. Of course, I wasn't going to say I wanted to meet him today, but at least tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
なんだよ、お前ら何やってんだ？
What are you guys doing?
ん？
Hmm?
レナがね、新しい恋に目覚めちゃったんだってさ。
Seems like Rina found a new love.
違うよ、
No, how?
なんだそりゃ、面白そうな話だな。
Really? How interesting.
俺も混ぜろ混ぜろ。
I want to hear about it too. I didn't want her to leave it up in the air, so I told her I think I should give it back to him as soon as possible. I'm sure he's looking for it too. Mi-chan said okay twice and walked away, waving. I hadn't yet thought about how I was going to ask for help when I would meet him. He seems to be in a higher position than Rina-san and her partner. If he agreed to help me, it would be very encouraging. But there was a possibility that he'd tell me that he didn't want to interfere in other people's private matters. He could just say the whole thing was another love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover.
じゃあな、レナ。
Bye, Rina.
また明日な。
See you tomorrow.
また明日ね。
Yeah, see you tomorrow. I said goodbye to Ketchikun and walked home alone. After Ketchikun was gone, everything went quiet and my head became clear. What I needed at that moment was quiet time to think about what I should do from then on. I shouldn't depend on Kasai-san to solve my problem. He'd most likely decline my request, so I'll have to think about some alternatives. It's probably better that I just do that. A love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover. Those words bothered me because I'd seen an unhappy triangle like that before. That sort of thing had happened to Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun experienced it last year. He fought for his sister in a triangle with his aunt. It was the same situation as mine, trying to fight to protect my father. Satoshi-kun fought alone. Nobody helped him. All I did for him was give him my sympathy and compassion. I didn't think I could do anything more than that. I felt sorry for him, but I didn't really help him out. Irresponsibly, I tried to cheer him up, and I probably told him something that I thought would make him feel better, but that hurt him instead. I recently realized how much I hurt him with my insensitivity, because Kechi just hurt me the same way. I'm going down the same path Satoshi-kun went last year. I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu, an unusual repetition. Would that mean that I'd be the one who gets demoned away this year? I should be okay. I was thinking about running away from Hinamizawa. Was I? I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa, but I thought about running away from my home many times. That's why I made the place I could escape to in the garbage dump. That dump happened to be in Hinamizawa. But what if it wasn't? Running there would be the same thing as running away from Hinamizawa. I shouldn't think like that. Oyashiro-sama will get mad at me. Oyashiro-sama is really scary. I saw flickering lights in my head. Oh no. Every time I tried to remember that time, my mind would stop working properly. I remembered the vivid colors of my psychoactive drugs. The flickering lights and clouds started spreading in my head. They were so bright and annoying. Don't try so hard to remember. Don't try too hard to remember. Ah. No. Couldn't stop the flickering lights in my head. Couldn't have that feeling. I had to fill my heart with another feeling. Yeah. There was no time for those crazy flickering lights in my head. I had to think about what I should do when Kasai-san declined my request for help. I had to protect my father from Rina-san and that bad man. Wait, why was I still calling her that? Rina is Rina. Rina. She's a bad person who deceived my father and tried to bring us unhappiness. Bad people bring bad things into the world without even doing anything. They're different from the other 90% of people who aren't bad. If you let them loose, they'll even ruin the people around them. When you have one bad tangerine in a box, it spreads its fungus to the other tangerines around it. That's what bad people are like. I couldn't remember how Sachikun resolved his triangle last year. But I could see the flickering lights in my head. They're still flickering. 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 Just as a swirl of flickering lights were having to repeat flickering lights is like a tongue twister in a sense. Just as the swirl of flickering lights were making me dizzy, I saw my house. I also saw Rina-san's scooter parked by the side of the gate. The moment I saw the bike, the flickering lights disappeared, and I regained control of myself. Rina-san spent the night last night. She told me she had to work today in the evening, so she would be leaving soon. But I didn't want to be around her, even for the little while until she left. I said I'm home, really loud, rushed into the house, pretended that my friends were waiting outside, and rushed out of the house. But Rina-san stopped me.
あら、おかえり、レイナちゃん。
Hey, Rina-chan, you're home?
あ、こんにちは。
Hello. This was the first time I thought Rina-san's smile was ugly. It only stood to reason. I had realized the scheme she was hiding behind the smile.
今日ね、お父さんと一緒にお昼はゴグラまで行ってきたのよ。
Your father and I went to Gogura for lunch today.
キーマカレーがとっても美味しいお店でね。
There's a restaurant there that makes delicious Indian curry. My father poked his head out of the living room, and he says, I want to go there again next time we go. I really like that curry. I wondered if he meant with me next time or with me and her. Anyway, I hate it when Rina-san says your father.
それで、レトルトをお土産に買ってきたの。
We bought you some curry home from the restaurant.
後でぜひ食べてみてね。
Try it later.
美味しいから。
It's very good.
レイナちゃんはこのお店知ってる？
Have you heard of that restaurant, Rina-chan? Reina-chan? I did know the restaurant she was talking about. I saw it in a magazine. It's a new restaurant that just opened recently. I also remembered that it was an expensive restaurant. The amount of money they spent on the take-home curry alone must have been enough to cover the cost of all our dinners for several nights. Since I was aware of what was in the bank books, it was hard for me to stay calm.
それは楽しみです。
I'm looking forward to it.
ありがとうございますね、リナさん。
Thank you so much, Rina-san.
それでね、レイナちゃん。
Reina-chan,
ちょっとみんなでお話があるんだけど。
your father and I would like to talk about something with you.
ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry,
ちょっと友達を待たせてるんで出かけますね。
but my friends are waiting for me, so I have to go. How?
またゴミ捨て場で宝探しなの。
We're gonna go treasure hunting at the garbage dump again.
レイナちゃんは宝探しが好きね。
You really like treasure hunting, huh?
私も今度行ってみようかしら。
I'd like to go there sometime. Don't you fucking dare come to my garbage dump.
ではすみません。
Fuck you, Rina.
失礼します。
Well, I gotta go. Bye. Every time Rina-san moved her arms or head, the scent of her perfume struck my nostrils. I hate the smell of her perfume, so I couldn't stay there a second longer. I rushed out of the house and started running to get away from her perfume. The rubber band inside me, the one called Reina, the rubber band inside me, the one called Reina, was stretched all the way to its limit. I'm pretty sure I'd explode and go crazy if the rubber band broke. I didn't want to feel like that inside my own house. My house was supposed to be the place where I could open my heart freely. I ran away. I ran away from there. I ran farther and farther away from there because it was no longer a place I belonged. It's rough. It's not that I had a destination in mind. I was just running away. I was running to escape to a place where I did belong. Didn't I decide to fight against that woman? Didn't I decide to fight against her either by myself or with my family? But then, once I saw her fake smile, a chill ran up my back. It was like I picked up a stone, found a carpet of bugs underneath it, and put it back on the ground in a hurry. I rushed out of the house as fast as I could. Did I want to fight, or did I want to run away? Was I just choosing to spend a peaceful time at my hideout, believing that tomorrow would be the same as today? I couldn't do that. I didn't know when they would spring their trap. Couldn't afford to waste any time. I knew that deep down. I knew that, but I just wanted to run away. Couldn't stop myself from running away. And so, I did run away. At times like this, the mattress in my hideout would feel so soft. That I knew. The cries of the Higurashi were soothing to the ears. They sounded as soft as my mattress. They were like music. They didn't force any feelings upon me. They cried as if to tell me to just be who I am. It was always so quiet here that I immediately noticed the purr of an engine coming closer. People used to come here and make a lot of noise during the dam conflict. But now, nobody really comes here. This is a place forgotten. So, it was rare to see somebody come through here at all. I sat on the roof of an abandoned car and waited for the intruder to go away without looking their way. But the purr of the engine stopped. I'm not stupid. If it stopped, I knew exactly who it had to be. I heard the person calling me, but I ignored it once. The person came closer, making it harder for me to ignore her. She called my name again. I turned around this time. Oh, you should not... You should not have come here, Rena. Our Rena, like, grabs a baseball bat, just starts swinging wildly at her. How? Dude, if Rena's gonna lose it here. She was like, she better not come to my one place that I can escape to and feel comfortable. And then, of course, she shows up. Oh, I hope they start fighting right now. Hand-to-hand combat. My money is on our Rena. She just has to... She could probably go 50% cute mode and still take out this Rena. My guess. Our Rena says, Rena-san.
Reina-chan? 結構耳遠い方?
Reina-chan, are you hard of hearing?
すみません。多分逆風だったんで聞こえにくかったんだと思います。
I'm sorry. I guess I couldn't hear you because of the wind. She seemed to buy my poor excuse. She smiled and said, yeah, it happens sometimes.
一人?
Are you here alone?
お友達は?
Where's your friend?
一人で遊んでますよ。
I'm playing here alone.
ふーん。
Well.
その年でなかなか渋いわね。
It's rare for a girl your age to play alone. Rena-san stretched and looked across the huge garbage dump.
しかし、よくもこれだけ盛大にスクラップばっか捨てたもんよね。
I can't believe people throw so much scrap out here.
知ってる?
Did you know?
昔、平坂の2丁目にもタイヤの外れた車ばっかり積んであるところがあってね。
There used to be a place near Hirosaka where people threw tons of abandoned cars without wheels. I wasn't interested in Rena-san's old story, but I pretended to listen and nodded. She doesn't take this road to go back to Okinomiya. I guess she knew I'd be here and came by to see me. What did she want? It was obvious that she was just trying to make conversation. She probably took it personally when I avoided her earlier, which must be why she was here to butter me up. It would be better for her to not have any conflicts with the daughter of the man she's seeing, no matter what the intention of seeing him is. In that sense, it was a reasonable action for her to take. While I listened to her old story, all I could think about was when she was going to leave. Didn't I have to fight against her? Didn't I decide to fight against her? Didn't I find out her plot at the coffee house in Okinomiya? Didn't I find out that this woman is squeezing money out of my father when I looked inside his cash box? I know who you are. Please leave my father alone. How easy it would be if those two sentences could solve the problem. She'd probably deny it. Even if I told her about what I heard at the coffee house, I've no evidence of her plot. If she said she did it because the vulgar man was threatening her, there'd be nothing I could do. But I know this woman is a bad person. I know something horrible will happen in the near future if I waste time like this. A strange, tense feeling started coming over me, but I didn't know how to let it out. As the feeling started running high, I became unable to stand the smell of her perfume. I wanted to put a certain distance between me and her, so I climbed down the slope of the scrap heap. I kept going down and down, the slopes of the garbage dump. When I turned around, I saw her coming down as well, muttering. Was she following me? In order to run away from her, I started running down the slope all the way to the bottom, went around behind some trash piles, and arrived at the front of my hideout. This is a very funny visual to me. My escape was meaningless. Not only was she going to catch up with me eventually, all I did was let her know the way to my hideout that nobody's supposed to know about. I wanted to make sure she never saw my precious hideout. I was about to leave, but then she appeared.
へえ。
Wow.
ちょっと素敵よね。秘密基地みたい。
This is cool. It's like a secret base.
私だけの秘密の隠れ家なんですよ。
This is my secret hideout.
ここには誰も来ないし、誰にも何も聞こえません。
Nobody comes here, and nobody can hear us. I felt strange hearing myself say that.
レイナちゃんだけの秘密の隠れ家？
So, this is your secret hideout, huh?
嬉しいわね。そんな場所に連れてきてもらえるなんて。
I'm honored to be invited here. She must have thought I told her my secret base, or my secret because she was worth sharing it with. She looked happy. She found the station wagon, looked inside of it through the window, and went all ooh and ah excitedly. This is a secret place that nobody else knows. I felt like my consciousness was separating from my body, like I was floating. But it didn't feel good, like when I drank amazake. It was more like being carsick. I felt like I was going to throw up. My brain was probably secreting some chemical in order to avoid facing the reality that I'd have to stay with this woman, that I couldn't run away from her. But, even if my brain tried to avoid recognizing it, the reality in front of me wouldn't change.
そうそう。ねえ、レイナちゃん。
Reina-chan.
なんでしょう。
Yes?
どうしたの？
What's wrong?
気分悪いの？
Are you feeling okay?
いえ、平気です。
Yes, I'm fine. I inhaled fresh air and pulled my consciousness back to reality. I didn't feel like throwing up anymore, but I still felt off balance. I leaned onto a scrap of garbage to keep my balance.
私はレイナちゃんのこと好きよ。
I like you, Reina-chan. Reina-chan.
レイナちゃんは私のこと好き？
Do you like me?
何ですか突然。
What are you talking about all of a sudden? I said that because I didn't want to say that I like her.
私ね、ずっとあなたのお父さんとお付き合いをしているんだけど、いろいろと話し合ってね。
I've been seeing your father for quite a long time now, and we've been talking about many things, you know? I need to stop feeling like this. Get up, Rena. I'd heard something like this before. Part of me was trying to understand what this woman was trying to say, but another part of me was trying not to. I felt as if her words were bouncing around in my head, and I started having a headache.
それでね、これからのことを真剣に話し合ったのよ。
We had a serious talk about our future the other day.
これからの生活やいろいろよ。
You know, about our life together and so on. What?
レイナも秋人おじさんのこと好きでしょ？
Uh-oh. You like Uncle Akihito, don't you, Reina?
それでね、お母さん。
So your father and I are... What's going on? Mother? What are you thinking about, Rina Ryugu? This is an important moment. You're about to have a one-on-one battle with Rina-san. No, Mom. What about my dad? What about me? I don't want you to divorce him. I don't want you to get remarried to anybody else. No, please don't divorce him. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you get remarried.
再婚なんて許さないです。
I'm not going to let you get married to my father.
え？
What?
お父さんとどういう付き合い方をしたって構いませんが、再婚なんて許さないです。
I don't care if you go out with him, but I'm not going to let you get married to my father. Damn. Line in the sand moment. She must have not thought that I'd say it straight out like that. She looked stunned. After a while, she broke the silence with her laughter. Yeah, what does Rina say in that moment?
拒絶もあるかなとは思ってたけど、ここまではっきり言われるとは思わなかったもんだから。
I thought you might reject me, but I didn't think you'd say it straight out like that.
拒絶もあるかなと思っていました。
You thought I might reject you?
私が拒絶していたのに気づいていたのは意外でした。
I'm surprised you even noticed that I was doing it.
そんなのわかるでしょ。
Of course I did.
あんた、私と目を合わせるとすぐ逃げるもん。
You always ran away whenever you saw me.
それで分かってないなんて思ってた？
You thought I didn't know?
子供は嫌ね。
That's why I hate kids. Oh my god, it's escalating quickly. Oh my god, this Rena is not taking this lying down. She's going back on the counter offensive. The feud is brewing. Look at that face. She frowned, revealing her ugly self. It should have been the first time I saw her face like that, but I wasn't surprised at all. Her face had looked like that to me from the beginning.
できれば上辺だけでもあんたとは仲良くしてたかったんだけど、ここまで嫌われちゃ難しいわね。
I wanted to get along with you if I could, at least on the surface, but I guess it's hard to do that now since you hate me so much.
私のどこが気に入んないの？
What do you hate about me?
工学のために教えてよ。
I'd like to know for future reference.
最初から
Everything.
全部。
I hate everything about you. I hate everything about you!
匂いも嫌い。
Hurt my throat there. I hate your smell too. One vicious word came out from my mouth after another. I didn't have wings, but I felt as if I was flying up to the sky. I felt weird and uncomfortable, but also exhilarated. I felt as if I was letting another me use my body. I was in the middle of a disastrous battlefield, but I felt like it wasn't even my business.
そりゃあ好都合ね。
That's just fine with me.
私もあんたのこと嫌いだったから、お互い様よね。
Because I hate you too. I guess we're even. Immediately, this Rena loses the high ground by saying that. You know, this Rena could have fought back. I think, honestly, the best way this Rena could have fought back, new Rena, is take the high ground, not get offended so much, but it's seeming as if she can't even help herself. She is pissed. She Oh my god. Oh my god. You little fucking brat. You better shut your fucking mouth or I'll make you.
二度と家へ来ないでください。
This is more than I thought. This is faster than I thought. I thought this was gonna slowly, like, simmer to, like, this point. But no. We are full on, full speed. The two Beyblades have met and are making impact. And one of them is gonna get tossed out of the play field. And again, my money is on our arena. Never come to my house again.
再婚なんて私が絶対に許さない。
I'll never let you get married to my father.
別にあんたに許してもらわなくてもいいんだけど。
I don't need your permission, you know.
まあ、あんたがうまく立ち回ってお父さんに再婚を断念させたきゃさせてごらんって。
Well, why don't you try and stop your father from remarrying? Let's see what happens.
そんなの今さら意味ないし。
I think you're wasting your time, though. Again, I hate to pause so much here, but again, the visual of this is very funny. They are in the middle of like a trash heap dump place. They're literally like 2 minutes ago, this Rena was acting as if she was super happy and having a fun time seeing the secret place and like chasing our Rena around. And like that, she was still trying to keep up the facade of, oh, yeah, I'm gonna talk to my new stepdaughter kind of thing. Nope. Rena Prime is not having any of that. She didn't look intimidated by me at all, and that made me feel a little intimidated in return. Why was she so confident of her absolute control over my father? She had to have more than confidence to be able to act as fearless as this. She must have something tangible. Before I asked her what it was, she told me herself.
私ね、プロポーズされたの。
I'm pregnant.
嘘だ!
You're lying!
嘘じゃないわよ。
I'm not lying.
本当よ。
It's true. It's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. It's a big lie. She has to divorce because she got pregnant. She has to get married because she got pregnant. That's a lie, that's a big lie.
向こうからのお願いだから聞かないわけにもいかないしね。
I'm a Christian, so I can't get an abortion. Oh, fuck.
指輪ももらっちゃったし。
He'll just have to accept it.
それに結婚を前提のお付き合いだったわけだしね。
Plus, we had sex with marriage in mind.
指輪まで送っておいて今さらちゃぶ台返しなんてことになると最近は問題が多いわよね。
He made me pregnant. If he changes his mind and takes no responsibility, it's going to be a big mess, you know?
それが最初から目的のくせに。
That was your plan, wasn't it?
私は聞いてるんだ。
I overheard it.
お前と鉄という男が二人で喫茶店で話しているところを聞いてるんだ。
I heard the conversation you had with that man, T-chan, at the coffee house.
お父さんのお金を目当てに近づいたのを知っている。
I know you started seeing my father for his money.
ひなみ沢の旦那と呼んで詐欺にかけようとしていることを知ってる。
I know you call him your husband in Hinamizawa. I know he's just a big catch for you.
葛西さんに聞いたから全部知ってるんだ。
I know everything because I heard it from Kasai-san.
詐欺師だってことも全部知ってるんだ。
I know you do Badger games too.
あら、全部知ってるんだ。
Oh, you knew?
あらららららら。
Well, well, well. Before I knew it, Rena was standing right in front of me. We glared at each other with our faces almost touching. Damn. So?
レイナちゃんはそこまで知っててどうしようってわけ？
Reina-chan, you know everything. And what are you thinking you're going to do?
お父さんに二度と近づかないでください。
Don't come near my father ever again.
嫌よって言ったら？
What if I refuse?
こんな秘密の隠れ家に誘ってくれての話だからね。
You wanted to talk to me at your secret hideout, right?
そういうお話かなとは思ってたのよ。
I kind of knew what you wanted to talk to me about.
だってここ秘密の隠れ家なんでしょ？
You brought me to your secret hideout.
誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない秘密の場所なんでしょ？
Where nobody knows and nobody can hear us, right?
ええ、そうですよ。
Yeah, you're right.
誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない。
Nobody knows about this place and nobody can hear us here.
誰も訪れることのない忘れられた場所。
Nobody comes here because it's a place forgotten. Our faces were so close to each other that our noses could almost touch. I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't know what would happen next. I couldn't back down now that I'd come to this point, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I should do.
いやだ、何をマジになってんだかね。
Come on, let's not do this.
ほらほら、仲直り。
Let's be friends again. Rena started laughing and slapped me on the back. My expression didn't change and I kept staring at Rena. But I didn't notice her real intention of putting both of her arms around my neck. The tension broke, already stretched thin, and Rena squeezed my neck hard. Holy shit. Oh my god, I was openly hostile, but I didn't realize Rena's evil intention until she started choking me. This is so fucking... Like I said, I thought we were gonna get a slow simmer to a point like this, potentially. I did not think it was gonna be like this already. Crazy.
子供のくせに舐めやがってよ。
You little brat.
もうちょいでうん千万って金が転がるんだよ。
I'm so close to getting millions of yen.
上辺だけでも仲良しってことになってりゃ小遣いの少しもやろうって思ってたのにな。
If you at least pretended to get along with me, I would have given you a good allowance.
口ばっかり滑らしか。うんだらねえとこでまだるっこし。
But you just can't keep your fucking mouth shut, can you? Got some fucking nerve.
死にさらせやこら。
Brat like you should die. I tried to pry her hands off my neck, but I didn't have the strength to do so.
殺しはしたかなかったんだけどね。
I didn't want to kill you.
二度とこんなうまいカモには会えないだろうしさ。
But I'll probably never get as big a catch as your father again.
てめえ閉めてうん千万なら悪くはないさね。
So, I don't mind killing you for millions of yen.
どうせ巻き上げたら蒸発するつもりだったしさ。
I was going to disappear after I got that money anyway.
上等くれたらこの野郎！
This is what you get for talking back to me! The world around me got darker and darker. I'd never known an evil intention like this, namely the intention to kill me. It didn't scare me, though. That's because being scared is a feeling that people use to express how they feel when they see wildfire on the other side of a river. People on the island with the wildfire, if their death's right in front of them, they don't get scared. If I loosened my grip on her hands even a little bit, she'd crush my throat. This was a simple competition to see who was stronger. Rina wanted to get into the most advantageous position, so she tried to push me down to the ground so that she could mount me. If I let her do that, I wouldn't stand a chance. A grown-ass adult woman trying to kill this is wild. This is things have gotten out of hand so quickly. Oh, it's crazy. I tried to keep my current position, but I was losing a lot of energy by being choked. It was only a matter of time before Rina could push me down. I lost my balance on purpose. I tried to fall backwards in order to put her off balance. I couldn't hold my breath long enough to keep up that strength competition. I feel like someone's going to come and help her. Someone's got to appear, right? So I had no choice but to take that chance. We fell on the ground, tangled together. But as Rina was strongly determined to kill me, she didn't even take her hands away from my neck after she fell. However, my actions made Rina loosen her grip on my throat. It wasn't loose enough for me to break free from her grip, but it gave me a few moments to use my hands for something other than stopping her from crushing my throat. If I hadn't taken the chance, I would have been done for. That's why I tried to literally seize my chance. I moved both my hands on the ground to seize that chance. I felt a piece of broken glass on my right hand. That was truly my chance to literally save myself from the brink of death. I cut Rina's wrist deep with that piece of glass. Yeah! Rina tried to endure the pain for a few seconds, but pain that severe from someone so cornered soon broke her will. She let go of my throat to cling to her bloody wrist. I used that moment to roll away from her. It fucking hurts! She screamed both in pain and also to try and intimidate me again. Didn't work anymore though. Intimidation only works on the opponent when the opponent is hesitant to fight. When you're already in a fight, screaming like that means nothing more than letting the opponent know how badly you're hurt. I no longer had any hesitation. I had learned from Rina. She taught me what I have to do in a situation like this. That's right, this is my secret hideout. I know every single piece of junk in here. Maybe I knew that a day like this was coming. Was it just a coincidence that it was there? I pulled out a meter-long lead pipe, not at all surprised to see it there. I raised it up high and brought it back down. There was no way Rina could block this hard and heavy lead pipe with just her arms. She probably tried to block it with her palms of her hands in order to take it from me. But her long nails wouldn't let that happen. Unable to catch it the way she wanted, she broke her fingers, and some of her nails came off too. Yeah. Her scream made me realize that I had the advantage. An advantage I would have to keep. Now, if this keeps escalating to, like, the point of actual murder on Rina's end here, I assume we were part of the double-edged sword we were told about the pregnancy. She's pregnant with someone. She is pregnant. Not only was that obviously told to us to kind of feel like as a trap towards the dad, but I was thinking immediately, I was like, oh, if Rina goes so far as to, like, try to take out this new Rina, like, yikes. Yikes. But I mean, it's like one of those things, right? It's like back during Shion's chapter, last chapter, where there was a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't necessarily agree with everything Shion's doing, but like, at some point you just make fucking lose it, and you've had enough, and you feel like you've been wronged, and you have nothing else to live for, and you're going to take it out. And honestly, again, even less selfishly than Shion's whole situation. This is Rina trying to be like, hey, I know this person is evil. I've known, it's obvious, it's made clear, and I'm trying to protect my dad and our well-being. Crazy. An advantage I would have to keep. If I didn't, she'd turn the tables just like I did, and then she'd choke me to death for sure. Yeah, stop it, wait! Rina shielded her head with her arms, but it didn't help. All that would change is that I'd break her arms before I broke her face. I'm serious, stop it right now! I'm serious too. Die.
それではこれにて当法廷は閉廷です。
You should die! Yeah, that's right. I should have done this a long time ago. I didn't need proof. I didn't have to talk to anybody. That's stupid. That's nonsense. I should have done this a long time ago. If I had done it a long time ago, my father wouldn't have been deceived. I could have protected him. I could have protected my family. I could have protected my life. I could have been myself. My mother wouldn't have divorced my father. I could have stayed happy. I wouldn't have had to be unhappy. I'm going to recapture my happiness. At this moment, I'm going to win back my happiness. I'm not going to cry for misfortune. I'm not going to give in to a fate of unhappiness. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to seize my happiness. Right now, with my own 2 hands. Rina tried to run away from me. But as she no longer had the use of her hands, it made it difficult for her to stand up to escape, especially since there were scraps of junk everywhere on the ground. After all, this is my hideout. This is my territory. Nobody can run away from me here. She tried to climb up the slope of garbage, slipped, fell, and rolled all the way back down. She didn't stand up or move. Her eyes were open and her neck was bent in an unnatural angle. I didn't know how to make sure she was dead, so I kept looking at her opened eyes for a while. Jesus. Also, there's a self-defense angle here for Rina, our Rina. She was the first one who started getting choked out by the adult in the situation. Honestly, I think Rina should get off scot-free. She could be faking it for all I know. But she didn't close her eyes no matter how long I waited. I scooped up a handful of sand and threw it on her face. She still didn't close her eyes. Thud. The lead pipe slipped out of my hand and hit the ground. When I tried to pick it up, I realized how heavy it was, and I was surprised that I was wielding it as though it was a knife. I was sweating all over. Cold wind felt good on my skin. The cries of the Higurashi were calming me down and healing my soul. Rina was just like a broken dummy now. Oh, it's brutal. She had become a piece of junk. Oh, but this is good for us. No, think of the positives. Rina's dead. We're back to 1 Rina. No more confusion. I think this is good. Good thing. She had become a piece of junk. I am the owner of this land of junk, and I've defended it from her intrusion. Now she was a resident of this junkyard. I didn't feel bad about killing her. In fact, I felt rather fulfilled that I defeated the evil woman who had deceived my father. I started breathing slowly and calmly. I regained enough energy to analyze the situation. I'd have to hide her body. First, I had to get rid of her scooter. I climbed up the slope and kicked her scooter down the hill. It rolled down the slope, making a lot of noise, and blended in with all the junk as it stopped, like it was there from the beginning. Went back down the slope and started dragging her body to my hideout. It should have taken as much effort as dragging a 50-kilogram sandbag, but it felt lighter than that. It was just a sandbag, yet it brought disaster to my family. I didn't lure her here in order to kill her. Or did I? Maybe I just didn't notice that I had that intention deep down in my heart. But even so, I felt like this was the best and most expedient solution. There was no better solution than killing her. How wasteful to depend on someone to help me, to wait for the day to come when they will. I remembered the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt that happened last year. I had no doubt that Satoshi-kun murdered her, but I've never been as convinced as I am right at this moment. How could he have saved Satoko-chan, other than by killing his aunt last year, at that time, in that circumstance? My situation was much the same as his. How could I have saved my father other than by killing her? If I was planning a murder, I would have been under a lot of pressure and stress. But, for better or for worse, the moment came to me out of nowhere. That's why I believed I solved my problem with as little trouble as possible. Now that she's gone, will anyone become suspicious about her disappearance? She was an irresponsible person who skipped work at her own convenience. So, didn't think anybody would get suspicious when she'd disappear one day. She was a big mess from the start. People will think she went into hiding because she got into deep trouble with someone. I didn't need to fabricate an alibi. All I needed to do was get rid of her body. It took me a while to figure out how to do that last part. Hiding her body would be very risky. But my brain had become so calm that it did some calculations and came up with an answer right away. Yes. This place is still the safest. This is the place forgotten. Nobody comes here. Nobody knows this place is here. I knew that because I've been spending a lot of time here. Compared to taking the risk of carrying her body to some other place, it was a lot safer to just hide it here. But it wasn't perfect yet. This place wouldn't remain a secret forever. I could hide it here and for now, but I'd have to come up with the perfect way to make it completely disappear. It's a lot easier to think about that than thinking about how to make Rina break up with my father. I stuffed her corpse into a broken refrigerator in a trash pile. I wanted to cover the refrigerator with dirt and bury it, but that was too easy. I had to chop the corpse into pieces and make them completely disappear. I felt like it got dark all of a sudden. No, it didn't get dark all of a sudden. I just didn't realize it was getting dark until just then. I could hear thunder from a distance. It might rain soon. I could use some rain. It would wash Rina's dirty blood into the ground. I should go home. I should think about what I'd do tomorrow. I was going to stay right beside my father until he forgets about her. He might be hurt at first, but we're going to recapture our happiness for sure. Our happy, peaceful life. My body was heavy with exhaustion, but I also felt fulfilled because I took a very important first step today. It's one way of describing it. I'll keep taking one step after another. I'm not going to cry anymore. I'm not going to cry until I win back my happiness. I'm not going to cry again. Man. Ay. Jesus, she's so casual about it too. Like it's kind of respectable in a weird way. But God, she just did it. I mean, now it's the game, the story of Higurashi is now interesting because now we've a few times have been through the perspective of different characters, see them. We've seen through the perspective of murders happen, and we've also had murders like tangentially happen around us and seen like reactions to it and everything. And it's just Rina's is interesting because she like there's so many factors to it, right? She felt like this woman was hurting their family. It was like an act of self-defense. Mostly. Do I think Rina was actually gonna kill? Yes. Not a doubt in my mind. She even tried to pull the okey doke on our Rina. She said, "Oh, let's make up and be friends again," and then started choking out Rina. Like, she was willing to do it. There's no mistake at that point. So self-defense, but then you mix in whether it was true or not, the pregnancy thing, and now you got to be like, well, how she's not going to break the news. Rena's not dumb to be like, oh yeah, I killed Rena to her dad or anything. That's not going to happen. But like, there's just so much, and it's so weird. Like I said, it happened so suddenly. I thought tensions were going to rise and we were going to get to a point of something around that, of kind of like what happened now. But it just happening so suddenly is crazy. And honestly, kudos to Rena, just able to execute. It was looking a little bad for her for a moment, but she was able to she didn't need the build up. Like, again, kind of what I was talking about before. We've gone through the perspective, like, Shion, fucking psycho. She was on a mission, and she was willing to take out as many people as needed, and we saw that. Kechi, when he did his thing, that was like, that was a build-up. That was for him. Like, he had to mentally, like, prepare a bunch, and he wanted to make sure when he did it, that everything went as smooth as possible. And so that's why I assume intentionally it was so contrasting differently to Rena's situation here, where it just happened. It basically happened to her, and she had to, as she said, seize the opportunity. Man, dude. That's all I can say. Man, dude. But again, kudos to Rena. Shit. You gotta give it to her. You have nothing, no outcome. You have no, what's the word I'm looking for? No other option other than to give it to her. You don't need to get remarried. That was the first thing I said after I got home. My father looked stunned. That's a weird thing to open up a conversation with, but okay. He noticed the sad tone of my voice, and realizing that I didn't agree with the idea of his remarriage, he looked down. I understand. I know how you feel, Rena. I should have talked about it with you first, and... That woman is lying to you about her pregnancy. Don't talk like that. Rina-san is... I'll tell you the truth. That woman and a guy called T-chan are a team of bad people. She went out with you only because she was trying to get our money. That is crazy. That, I mean, honestly, good for her. She's like, we're not, what's the word? I was gonna say pussyfooting, but that's weird. I don't know if that's like a outdated term at this point. There's no dancing around the subject at this point. Is pussyfooting even a word? What am I thinking? I mean, it obviously sounds weird, but that's like a phrase I'm trying to like remember from. But dancing around. She wasn't gonna dance around the, well, now I've got to look it up. I have my Google search history here. See if I'm just making up something. No, it's in the dictionary. Pussyfoot. Act in a cautious or non-committal way. Move stealthily or warily. Yeah, act in a cautious or non-committal way. I'm right. I am a wordsmith. No. But anyway, there was no beating around the bush. She was like, I'm going to do the fucking thing. I'm going to do it. It's done. The deed is done. I'm going to tell my dad he shouldn't have remarried. The pregnancy thing's a lie. I'm going to tell him whether he believes me or not. Now, it's kind of weird because, I mean, maybe we'll get our answer here super shortly, but like, is she going to come up with a reason why she's not going to show up? Or is she going to say all this and then he's going to be like, okay, well, is she going to show up again? And then like days pass and he doesn't see her or hear from her? And then what does the dad do? He looks at his daughter and goes, what the hell happened? What is all this? There's got to be some like amount of like what's going on, I would think. What a disaster. What a disaster. My father didn't get it right away, of course. He looked upset instead because I called her that woman. I should have chosen my words a little more carefully, but I think I told him the truth clearly enough. I told him everything I heard and saw at the coffee house. As I expected, he defended Rina anyway. I was upset, but at the same time, it made me certain that there was no other way than to kill her. I felt the pressure on my shoulders lessen for some reason. My father thought he needed my approval for his remarriage, so he held back his anger and put a fake smile on his face instead.
なあ、レイナ。もう一度ゆっくりとお父さんたちと話し合おう。
Hey, Rina, let's sit down with a cup of tea and talk.
そうすればきっと分かってくれるから。
I'm sure you'll understand once you hear me out. You see, you might not know this about your father, but I'm ugly. And also, I'm sad. And I'm a divorced dad. I'm a divorced single dad. And this, for all intents and purposes, pretty lady comes and starts chatting me up. And all I gotta do is spend a little bit of money? A tamed animal is still tamed, even after the owner is dead. That's okay. I'll open the gate anyway. Even a tamed animal will notice one day that he's no longer in captivity. That's not something that I could teach him. He had to realize it on his own. I couldn't stand his fake smile anymore, so I left the living room. Time healed the pain from the divorce. Time heals any kind of pain, just like how dripping water will eventually bore a hole through solid rock. I did what I had to do, or I did what I could do. Now, I'd have to wait. But the day I was going to wait for came earlier than I expected. At midnight of the following day, we had a visitor. Uh-oh. It was that Tichan man. Tepe Hojo. Uh-oh. Tepe didn't even knock on the door to get in. Uh-oh. He broke into the house by smashing the window. At first, I thought he came here to ask us about Rina's whereabouts, but I was wrong. The real reason why Tepe came here was because it was their plan. It was the last stage of their Badger game. Rina was probably supposed to be in bed with my father at that time tonight. Oh god. Tepe must have wanted to show up and catch them sleeping together. Oh, this actually works though in our Rina's case, because she can say, hey, they had a plan. And so when a guy named Tepe or Tichan comes in, she already tipped off her dad. And then when that does happen, then, I mean, I don't know how they're going to get out of this mess, this current mess. But at the very least, Rina can go look at her dad and be like, see? See? Huh? See? This Tepe guy's like throwing shit around and breaking things. And Rina's just like pointing at him. Just staring at her dad. Tepe looked around the house, but he couldn't find Rina. He didn't change the plan, though. He grabbed my father by his collar and started yelling threats. He showed my father a certificate of marriage to Rina and shouted at him, saying, "You got my wife pregnant! How are you going to take responsibility?" My father had no idea she was married. He looked shocked. My father's a short guy who was faint of heart. He just let Tepe do and say whatever he wanted from beginning to end. I looked at them from a distance coldly. The more Tepe yelled and threatened my father, the faster he'd wake up from his bad dream. This was a medicine for him. Tepe was cutting out the cancer that I was going to depend on time. Tepe was cutting out the cancer that I was going to depend on time to do, and he was doing a great job of it. I waited to help my father until I was sure that he had finally awakened from his bad dream. I told Tepe that I had something very important to tell him and took him outside. Oh man, is she gonna... So? What do you want?
リナさんって昨日以来沖宮に帰ってますか?
Has Rina-san come back to Okinomiya since yesterday? Hmm?
実はリナさん事情があって隠れてるんです。
As a matter of fact, she's hiding somewhere.
Huh?
What?
どういうこっちゃ?
I don't get it.
リナさんから鉄平さんが来たら連れてきてほしいと言われてるんです。
Oh shit. Oh no, she's doing the thing. Rina-san told me to take you to her when you came to my house.
Huh?
Huh?
リツコのやつどうしたんね?
The fuck is Ritsuko thinking? Yes. Tepe followed me without hesitation. Oh, she's doing it. Double murder! Double murder! I can't believe it. Good on her. Good on her. We walked in the dark with a flashlight to the place where nobody comes and nobody can hear us. The place forgotten. He asked me many things on the way, but I couldn't answer any of them. I just told him to ask Rena. The way I said it seemed to make him think that Rena was going to betray him and get married to my father for real. Even though he was breathing heavily in a rage, he walked right behind me without any suspicions. I knew this day was going to come very soon, so I was well prepared for it. We reached the place where I originally planned to bring him, and I turned off the flashlight all of a sudden. Oh? What's going on? Everyone gets nervous when the only light in the dark goes off. But this is my territory. I didn't need any light. I could feel my surroundings even better with my eyes closed. I grabbed the big hatchet I'd hidden in a bush and lifted it up high. I'm sorry. I guess the battery went out. Hold on a second. Hack, 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 hack. She's gonna swing away. Okay, hurry up. I purposely sounded weak and helpless while I raised the hatchet into the air. Oh, I got a lighter. I'll just fire this baby up. Tepe found a lighter in his pocket and lit it up. He probably couldn't understand the sight illuminated by that small light. He saw a girl lifting up a big hatchet right in front of him. Tepe's eyes went wide. He didn't understand what was going on, but he understood that his life was in danger. And yet, he must not have been able to think fast enough to deal with it, even though he understood what he should do. Even if he could think fast enough and blocked his head with his arms, it wouldn't have meant anything. I knew Tepe would come to my house eventually. That's why I prepared for that day. I just didn't think that preparation was going to bear fruit tonight. I chose my weapon very carefully. That's now twice in a row where Rena, from her perspective, has monologued. I was ready to do this thing, I just didn't think it was going to be today. I didn't think it was going to be so soon. She keeps thinking like, she's like, I was meant to be prepared for this thing. I was ready to kill Rena, I was ready to kill Tepe. I just didn't think it was going to be today, and then she starts going. When the lights are the brightest, she knows how to start swinging. I planned when, where, and how I was going to attack him. And so, there can only be one result. Oh. The hatchet cut deeply into his forehead. I felt an indescribable vibration through the hatchet when it hit him, and this told me that I broke his skull. He bragged about how good he was at fighting at the coffee house, but he sure went down quickly when faced with a murderous weapon. He was done in by a single blow. Tepe slowly fell to his side with the hatchet in his forehead. He looked like a victim in a B movie. I killed this big guy with just one hatchet. He was probably quite experienced in the world of violence. But I was better than him when it came to killing. Why? Because I've killed someone before. It's all done now. The bad people who deceived my father and tried to rob him blind are all gone. I did what I had to do in order to protect my life. If I had this much courage and determination when my mom told me about the divorce, I might have killed Akihito. Damn. Now that it's the slippery slope thing where it's like, oh, I've done one murder, man. Now I feel like anyone who has slightly wronged me, I could just murder them. This person cuts me off in the road, I'm gonna murder them. This person didn't say bless you when I sneezed, I'm gonna fucking murder them. Crazy. If I did, I would have taken the life of only one. Because I couldn't get it back then, or do it back then. I've had to kill 2 people in the last 2 days. Rena. Let's finish it up. There's already a place to hide his body. I took care of everything. My hands were wet, so I shone the flashlight at them. I thought it was blood, but it was just sweat. Even so, I still felt uncomfortable and shone the flashlight at my hand several times. I did all this in order to be happy. I did all this, so I should be happy now. I tried so hard that I got blood on my hands. I wanted to get credit for that from him. Oh, Yashiro-sama? Let me ask you a question. I can finally rewind the time back to the day everything started to go wrong, can't I? I'm going to stay in Hinamizawa. I'm going to live happily with my father forever. Crazy. Wild and crazy. It's rare to see Rina sleep in class. She isn't the kind of girl who sleeps in class because of staying up so late. She had to be tired from doing housework or something. Yeah, that's what it is. Housework or something. Everybody seemed to be thinking the same thing. Nobody tried to wake her up, not even Chie-sensei. She got up for a few seconds and went back to sleep. She swayed back and forth like she was rowing a boat. But she's in class, so I should wake her up, right? I was about to wake her up, but before my hand touched her, Mion gave me a sign not to.
寝かせてあげなよ。
Let her sleep.
たまにはそういう日もあるよ。
She must be really tired today. Now, again, we very much in this house believe that Mion is very clever and understands. And I would assume, going back onto the theory of like, Mion not only has a deep network of knowing things, but also is really good at then covering for people when they decide to try to make their lives better. We've seen that multiple times. Do we believe that by Rina potentially asking for Kasai, do you think that maybe tipped off and like Mion knows a bunch of things now and she's like, hey, I wouldn't put it past her, I guess what I'm saying. Like, in this instance, do I think maybe Mion potentially knows that, hey, my network runs so deep, and I was approached by her randomly about asking for Kasai, and she was determined to see him in particular. It wouldn't be that hard for her to go, okay, Kasai, and then to Shion, and then Mion to even ask Shion, like, hey, did you run into, like, it would be super easy for Mion to ask Shion, hey, did you run into Rina? What was she asking about? What was the case? And then immediately go from there. Like, it would be so easy for Mion to know all this. Very easy. Quickly. Because this would have been days and days. Some indescribable, but at least multiple days at least away from when Rina asked for how to get into contact with Kasai. Alright, because she says,
それもそうだな。
You're right. I heard a few days ago that Rina lives with her father. She studies during the day, plays a lot after school, and does things around the house after that. I didn't know that. I also didn't know her mother had divorced her father. Mion told me that, and she also told me not to talk about it because Rina is still hurt by the divorce.
そんな苦労をしてるなんて全然気づきもしなかったぜ。
I didn't even notice that she's been through such a tough time.
レナはそういうのを表に出さないタイプだよね。
Rina is the kind of girl who doesn't show her pain to others.
ひょっとすると普段陽気に振る舞っているのもそういう風に意識して振る舞っているからかもね。
She always looks happy and cheerful, but she might be acting that way on purpose. Rina told me that happy days will one day come to an end. She told me she knew that firsthand. What could she have been through? She told me she knew that firsthand. What could she have been through? Oh, I see. I had no idea. That's probably why she tried to spend as much time as peacefully and cheerfully as she could. I must have hurt her feelings when I said I was bored of having happy days. When I thought about it, I felt bad for living off my parents, who are both healthy and happy. Jesus. For that matter, Satoko and Rika-chan lost their parents too. Mion lives with her grandmother, away from her parents, because she needs to learn to be the head of the Sonozaki family in the future. When I realized all that, I felt bad about my situation.
別にケイちゃんが両親と生活してることを申し訳なく思うことはないよ。
You don't have to feel bad about living with your parents. Mion seemed to have read my mind. She said it with such a cool expression on her face.
確かに家族ってのは 生まれてきた子供である私たちにとって一番最初のコミュニティなんだと思う。
A family is the most common community for kids like us to live in.
でもね、コミュニティは家族だけじゃないんだよ。
But it's not the only community we have.
仲間か？
You mean friends?
分かってるじゃん。
You're right.
俺たちはレナにとって家族に負けないくらいの存在なんだろうか。
Do you think we're as good as family? Do you think we're as good as family to Rena?
掃除洗濯、炊事に買い物。
Rena does cleaning, laundry, cooking, and shopping, so she must be tired every day.
それに疲れて昼寝だけして過ごすことだってレナにはできるんだよ。
She could spend her afternoon taking naps.
でもレナはそれをしない。
But she doesn't do that.
放課後の時間いっぱいを私たちと部活をして過ごす。
She spends her afternoons playing with us.
それはつまり、なんて言えばいいのかな。
That means...
そう、仲間ってことなんだよ。
That means... How should I put it? That means we're her best friends.
レナにとっては家族と同じくらいの意味のある仲間ってことなのか？
So you're saying we're friends with as much value as family to her?
え？
Mion looked stunned. As if she didn't understand what I was talking about.
ああ、ケイちゃんが今日まで仲間って言葉をどういう意味で使ってきたか知らないけどさ。
I didn't know what friends meant for you until today.
仲間ってのは家族と全く同格じゃないのかな。
But I believe friends are just as important and valuable as family.
難しく考えることではないのですよ。
It's actually very easy to understand. Rika-chan joined our conversation.
居場所があればいいのです。
The important thing is to have people around whom you can feel comfortable.
それがある場所を家族と言ったり仲間と言ったり呼び方が少し変わるだけのことなのですよ。
Sometimes you call them family or sometimes you call them friends. It's just a matter of the words you use.
リカちゃんにとって家族と仲間は同じものか？
Are friends the same as family to you, Rika-chan?
僕はそうだと思っていますです。
Yes, they are.
サトコもミーもそしてレナもそうだと思いますですよ。
I believe they are to Satoko, me, and Rina too.
だから私たちはいつも一緒にいようとするんじゃないかな。
I guess that's why we always try to stay together.
リカちゃんはみんなといると寂しくないか？
Do you ever feel lonely when you're with your friends?
みんなは家族なのです。
They're my family,
寂しくなんかないのですよ。
so I'm not lonely. Mion nodded in agreement. Satoko was talking with her other classmates, but I'm sure she would nod as well. Rina would too.
俺ちょっと恥ずかしいよ。
I'm a little embarrassed.
ん？
Why?
今日まで俺仲間って言葉を使ってきたけどさ、
I've been using the word friends,
本当の意味で理解してなかったと思
but I don't think I understood its true meaning until today.
う。仲間ってのはもっともっと大切でかけがえのないすげえもんなんだよな。
Friends are more important and irreplaceable than I thought they were.
それすっごく当たり前のことだからさ。
That's like common sense.
もし今日まで分かってなかったならよく胸に刻んだ方がいいよ。
So, you should take this opportunity to remember that.
そうだな。
Yeah,
そうするぜ。
I will.
あとそれを二度と口にしない方がいいかもだね。
I also recommend that you don't say that again.
今ケイちゃんかなり恥ずかしいこと言ってたと思うよ。
Ki-chan, you just said something very embarrassing, you know? After all that, Mion still made fun of me. I think I understand a little better why Rina was always so serious about having fun. I want to be her best friend. I want to do my best to be deserving of her effort. Z, Z, Z. Or for my overseas listeners, Z, Z, Z. Rina snored. Sounded cute. Chie-sensei let her sleep in class, but she couldn't let her get away with snoring.
委員長、竜宮さんを起こしてください。
Class president, wake her up, please.
レーナ、ほらほら。
Rena, get up.
あ
Wow. Rena was still half asleep and made a strange noise. Everybody in the class laughed. Rena noticed they were laughing at her, woke up right away, and acted like she wasn't sleeping at all. It looked really funny, and I burst into a fit of laughter. Very smooth. Outside the window, the sky was blue. Where the fuck does this chapter go from here? Usually, you know, I don't necessarily want to say the murders have been like the absolute pinnacle of these things, of like the chapters, like the very climax, but kind of they were. As far as like rising action leading up to it, and then I'm very curious where else this chapter goes then. And makes you wonder, was these double murders of those people by Rena just like the appetizers of this chapter then? You know what I mean? Like, are we set for even more wild things to happen? Or are we just gonna have a long come down here? Anyway, outside the window, the sky was blue and the clouds were pure white. It was still June, but it looked like the middle of summer. This perfect weather wouldn't last forever. It could get cloudy and rain all of a sudden. That's why we had to play and raise the ruckus while we still had this perfect weather. The cries of the cicadas sound as if they're laughing at us because we still have some classes left. Ah, damn it. I can't wait for school to finish.
どうしたんだろう。
Keiichi-kun.
ケイチくんすっごく嬉しそうだね。今日は何かあるの？
You look very happy. Did something special happen today?
別に今日何かあるわけじゃないぜ。
Nothing.
今日は今日だし、明日は明日だろ。
Today is today. Tomorrow's tomorrow, right?
ん？
Yeah.
今日が晴れてるならそれで十分。
I'm just happy that we have perfect weather today.
明日の天気なんか知ったこっちゃないってことさ。
I don't care about the weather tomorrow.
だから今日という日を俺は精一杯遊び倒したい。
I want to enjoy today as much as I can.
いつ天気が崩れたって後悔しないくらいに徹底的にな。
When the weather changes, I don't want to regret that I didn't. I learned that from Rena. I learned that peaceful days are the happiest days you can have, and that they're irreplaceable.
ミオ、今日の部活はなんだ？
Mion, what are we doing today for club activities?
それに最近罰ゲームがちょいと刺激不足だぜ。
We need something very exciting for the punishment too. Also, I mean, I don't want to go, I mean, it's whatever, but like, remember how I was saying, like, what does the Rena's dad say to Rena when it's like, hey, you know how like you were when you came home and you said all that anti-Rena propaganda, me getting married stuff? Yeah, and I was saying like, she just doesn't show up, and then it's like, whatever. This was even worse. This second guy comes in. This guy comes in, starts ransacking their place. She takes him outside. They go away for some time. What is the dad thinking? Rena comes back. Does he go, hey, Rena, what happened? How does Rena come clean and say, yeah, I murdered these two people? Or does she make up some bizarre story about how she like led him to like the police station or something? I don't know. I mean, unless told otherwise, I assume she doesn't just tell her dad outright that she murdered the people. She probably comes up with some story that she gave like them some weird runaround and then shook them loose or something. But like, I don't know. At some point, the dad's got to be like, what did my daughter do? Something is not adding up. And I'm afraid, even if it was for the best, my daughter is a 2 times over murderer. Or if you're the dad, I can't say what I would feel because I'm not a dad, and I'm not a dad, and I'm also not a dad of a murderer. But if my daughter, my kid daughter came, and I had the suspicion that she murdered 2 people, but it was for the best of our situation. Do you just willfully like be ignorant about it? You just don't ask any questions? It'll just be that it's our family's little secret, you know? I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't know what the discussion was. I don't think we're gonna get an answer either, is the thing. That's the thing. Like, this game is very good at explaining certain things and, you know, different, you know, perspective truths and everything throughout the timeline. I do not think we're gonna get an answer as to what Rina said to her dad, or if the dad questioned anything after this. Because, like I said, there definitely was probably questions about what happened to Rina. But, as I kind of said, it was smart that Rina came clean about, hey, there's a second guy that's going to come, and it was their plan together, because that once that guy comes, the dad knows. But it opens up a whole new can of questions, because then the dad has to be like, okay, what happened? What happened to them? And that once Rina has made it clear that she knew that was going to be the plan, it would be harder for her to shake any questions directed her way by her dad potentially there. Whatever. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much, but it seems crazy to me. I already read this line, I think. That's the spirit I like, Ki-chan.
そこまで言うなら、今日の放課後には生き地獄ってやつを拝ましてあげるよ。
Because you insist, I'll put you through a living hell.
ケイチ君、あまりみーちゃんを挑発しちゃダメだよ。
Kechi-kun, don't provoke her too much.
おいおい、臆すのかよ、レナ。
Hey, are you scared, Rina?
上等じゃないかよ。
I know you're better than that.
また俺たちの実力で大暴れしてやろうぜ。
Let's show her our true power again.
俺とレナの決着だってまだまだついちゃいないんだからな。
Remember, we haven't brought an end to our last battle. I grinned at her and she grinned back.
それもそうだね。
I do remember that.
よーし、レナも思いっきり頑張るぞ。
Okay, let's do it then.
レナさんには先日の借りがございますものね。
And Satoko's here too. Rina-san, you certainly got me last time.
きっちり倍返しさせていただきましてですわよ。
For that, I must pay you back with interest.
いいね、いいね。
This is getting very interesting.
盛り上がってきたよ。
It's going to be a blast.
早く放課後になるといいのです。
I can't wait for school to finish. I couldn't wait either, but the time we spent just talking together is also very precious.
そうだな。
Yeah.
早く放課後になるといいな。
It'd be nice if school ended soon. Is that it? It'd be nice if school ended. Meanwhile, here in the real world, school is just about to start. The kids are about to be back in school next week. At least where I live. Find an easy solution to a big problem, says the achievement. My favorite wine. Satsuko went to join the children playing in the schoolyard. Since I didn't feel like going, I decided to stay at home. Most likely, she wouldn't be back until the evening. When Satsuko wasn't around, I had ways of spending time without her. Besides, that was what I wanted to do anyway. Wait, is this Rika again? I stuck my hand deep inside the pile of winter futons in the closet and pulled one out. I think it is. This is the second time this chapter that we've done this little, like a little Rika, what would we call it? Not addendum. Little Rika side thing. Mysterious Rika. Next, I filled a stylish-looking glass with ice. The ice made in the freezer smelled of chlorine, though, and didn't taste good. Ew. Store-bought ice would be best, but since Satsuko kept asking me what I was using it for, I stopped buying it. But it might be worth spending time to think about a good excuse for that if it meant I would be able to enjoy ice without ever again smelling the chlorine. I filled the glass with mineral water, and then poured a little bit of another liquid into the glass. Watching the color mix into the transparent water was a very pleasant thing. This wasn't the right way to drink it, but I liked it that way, and didn't want to hear any complaints. My body is very convenient because I can get drunk with only a tiny amount. This is strange, yeah? That's why I dilute that small amount with a full glass of water. Thanks to that, I can enjoy a single bottle for a long time. It wasn't bad if you thought about it like that. I put a cushion on my favorite spot by the window, and with a glass in one hand, I enjoyed the familiar view and the soft wind brushing through my hair. A slightly sweet, ripened aroma tickled my nose. And just when I was about to start enjoying the atmosphere, the annoying one came back. She didn't like this bad habit of mine. She complained every time I tilted the glass. She started nagging me noisily. Shut up. Nope. Shut up. Be a little more tolerant. I can drink and eat whatever I want. Oh man, question mark, question mark, question mark. Oh shit. Mysterious. You can't. Kids aren't supposed to drink alcohol. I tried to ignore her, but she started making a fuss as if trying to ruin the atmosphere on purpose. There was no way I could enjoy getting drunk like this. I glared at her and threw the drink out the window. Do you want to know why I'm depressed? I'm depressed because the way I die has been decided. It seemed like she finally understood why I wanted to drown myself in alcohol. You don't have to feel down. I get to die instantly, so it's not that scary. My body will be burned and cut in pieces, but I'll be able to die instantly. But not yet. I know. Not yet. When am I going to die again?
6月の25日の夜だと思いましたです。
I think it's the night of the 25th of June.
綿流しの祭りが終わってからだいたい1週間後か。
It's about a week after the Watanagashi.
妥当なあたりね。
Whoops. It's about a week after the Watanagashi festival. Well, that sounds reasonable.
やっぱり僕のせいなのでしょうか。
Is it my fault?
決まってるでしょ。あんた自覚ないの？
Of course it is. Are you serious? Oh. She was the one who asked me, yet she cried when I told her she was right. Ah, jeez. She's always so annoying.
頑張りましょう。次のすごろくではきっと6が立て続けに出てくれることもあるわよ。
Let's keep trying. Sure, I'll get 6 in a row on the next game board. Or next board game. June 25th. I still had 10 more days. I was going to relax and enjoy those 10 days. I still had some wine left, too. It's something strange. There's something strange here. There's something strange is a brewing. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Look at that, we did that. I thought I was only going to be able to make it one chapter. And in fact, we did our normal too. So, yeah. Higurashis should be happening still. Tuesday, Saturday next week. I think, I mentioned this, I think, earlier this week or a week ago. There's going to be one Saturday night coming up that I'm not going to be able to make it. And I'm thinking of just doing Higurashi Friday instead for that. I just forget what Saturday is, and I keep forgetting to check my work calendar. So, I don't know. It's going to be one of those. Obviously, if you watch the VODs, it wouldn't make much of a difference. But just in case on the live aspect of that, live stream section. Next week, I mentioned this before, next week is going to be probably a week where we finish quite a bit of games. I would say probably at least 2, if not 3. Tomorrow, I'm going to try very hard to finish Dr. Decker, the infectious... What is it? Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker? That's definitely going to be what I try to finish tomorrow. And then also the Taoist Principle and Naruto are probably also highly likely to have finale streams next week. So a week full of finales is always fun. That means that new games is eventually on the rotation. We'll probably spin the wheel to fill one of the spots. I'll probably wait till we finish the Talos Principle DLC. But a game that I'd mentioned months ago that now will probably get around time to start. That'll be probably happening in the next, I'll say, week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks kind of thing. A big game, big game for the channel. So, yeah, big stuff happening. And then of course Higurashi will continue. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for inputs. Despite me saying I was disappointed, or not, actually I said I wasn't disappointed. Fake disappointed. Despite me being fake disappointed in you guys for input last stream. It's fine. I think we've come to a conclusion anyway. As always, thanks for watching. Chilling, hanging out, doing things. Hope you enjoyed. This was an interesting stream for sure. This was an interesting 2 chapters. Rena has that dog in her. She's got that dog in her, and not the wrong kind of dog. So mad respect to her. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night, or whenever you're watching this on the VODs on YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube VOD archive and the archive watchers. I hope you're enjoying the streams or any other random streams. If you ever run out of Higurashi streams, if you're like, it's not going to be another Higurashi upload until like days from now. As I always say, try to you can pick a random other game series, see if it's like, or hit up the one-off playlist. One video, one game, one video game, one video. What am I trying to say? Stuttering. One video game, one day, one stream. You can just pick a random one of those. See a game from start to end, in theory, in one video if you care to. If you're demanding more videos with me in them. Other than that, take it easy. Have a nice rest of your weekend. I wish we'll be back tomorrow. I don't know exactly when. In a perfect world, it'd be during a day stream, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll be disciplined enough. So we'll see. And like I said, I'd love to finish at the very least Dr. Decker tomorrow. So take it easy. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you in another stream